Welcome to the Dumb4Real podcast. I'm here today with Jono and Sriks from Europe. Oh my god. How are we, boys?
Hello, mate.
Great. G'day. All is good.
Did you do that at all on your trip and just like act overly Australian to like random EU people?
I spoke a bit in British, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
We talked.
you didn't look at languages. Like,
No, by the end, I was speaking fluent French and German, especially German. I was pretty good at that. Yeah.
We could not speak fluent French. We tried so hard for 10 days there, but we gave up pretty early on, I think.
Yeah. Look, after a few days in France, I was done with the language.
Yeah.
Mm.
So like, did you just have like a? Could you just walk around like not knowing any French and you were fine, like in France?
Yeah.
Yeah,
if
almost
you're
fine.
walking around, it's fine.
Yeah. Like there
And
was
then,
no-
like,
Especially around.
if you're like in the city, like center, like English is fine. But then you go outside and try whip something up.
nice.
Yeah.
You're
That's
on
what
your own
Smashes
there.
museum.
Yeah, it was a bit grim trying to order a steak sandwich in French. That took us a few goes.
you just point to the menu. Like, that's just, it's not like.
Yeah, I mean, I do that in
Yeah,
Australia.
like-
I like in like Asian restaurants. I'm just like, 22 actually.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says, but 22.
Yeah.
That's true.
We just did that in Korea.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Bradley said I was so proud for ordering something in French, no, in Korean, and he only spoke like 2 words in Korean, the rest in English. Like, he's like, dude, I spoke in Korean. Like,
Yeah, I'd like rehearse my sentence in like French, and I'd go up and like try order. I'll get halfway through it and realize I fucked it, and then try to do the rest in English, and just like
English,
try
yeah.
piece it together and like point. I'm like, yep, that one,
Yeah.
oi, and then like all that sort of business.
Oi.
But yeah,
Oi,
yeah,
oi,
that was a
oi.
classic one.
Yeah.
Always a classic. Once I had it at the France airport, that was a go. No oi from that point onwards.
Yeah, dude, you can say order the ketchup at the start. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Dude's broke. I don't know what you.
Oi.
it just means yes, right?
Oi.
Yeah,
We.
We means yes.
Yeah, we.
Oi, I don't think it means anything. I feel like
Oh,
I like
so,
really slowly.
I don't know.
Oi.
Damn. What we picked up from the commentators was oh la la. Like that's the lingo
Oh.
now. That's how we
Now,
do it.
oh la la is so
Oh, la, la.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like Kazia combo. It's like,
Yeah.
oh la 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 la. Oh.
Yeah,
But-
didn't hear much of that.
Yeah, man.
How was the general trip like as like a tourist and seeing like the countries as is, or like any culture shock or anything that you like enjoyed most about like sightseeing?
None of you
and
have
stuff
been.
like that?
Only Ben had been to Europe like before, right? Like you
Yeah.
guys hadn't.
Yeah. I got
Exciting.
lost in Venice as a 3-year-old for 3 hours, but
The canals, mate.
that's times have changed since then. I've been lost now, but I could make my way back to Jonathan Douglas. I think it was pretty good. We basically did like 50-50 Smash and tourism, but because we're doing like all the Smash, we had to stay in Paris for a lot of it, so we just kind of do like the basic tourist stuff like Seine River, the Louvre. Jonathan skipped a lot of the museums. He went to more of the gardens kind of areas. Hey,
Yeah.
look,
Not a museum history guy, I can tell you that.
no, we have a good picture of Jonathan just sitting for an hour and a half in the fucking foyer of the museum while Khan and I are doing museum stuff. So, we had our priorities straight.
That's actually the Seb Pro. Actually, he did the same thing.
Damn.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What about like
Australian boys.
the food and stuff, or like general things? Like,
Oh, dude,
dude.
there are some fucking greasy French foods you can have out there. It's
Oh.
croque monsieur. So you know, like a cheese sandwich, right? Like a cheese and ham toasty.
Yeah.
Right. They have that, but then they put cheese above and below it,
Oh.
and they also put another cheese toasty
my-
above that, and then
Wait,
cover
So it's
that
like a
in cheese
cheese
as well.
cheese toasty Big Mac.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a fucking abomination of cheese, and like it's more cheese than there's toast, really. But it's
Oh,
good to have like once off, otherwise you'll perish. And you have cordon bleus as well. Same fucking thing. It's just like a schnitzel, but they put cheese inside between the bread and the chicken part, and they put ham inside the chicken part as well.
That's
So,
just chicken Kiev, isn't it?
Kiev's
No,
like
but it's
that's
chicken
that's
on
weird.
chicken, right?
Kiev's with butter on the inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a little different, but I don't know. I only ended up gaining a kilogram. And I thought I was gonna be like 5 kilos overweight after the trip, so not even that bad.
Nice.
Too much of the stress, I think. How about you, John?
Yeah, look, I lost weight on the trip, so
What? That's
I-
crazy.
That's crazy.
mostly because of like the last like 2 days or like 3 days in Germany where didn't eat much and mostly drank everything, and on the plane on the way home just like starved because like
That's
you had to buy food on the plane. So I reckon that's where my weight loss came from. But like I guess the food over there, France had really good steak sandwiches. I thought they were like very impressive. Otherwise, it was kind of about standard. London was like pretty shit. Like the food there is like, yeah, look, it's grim. It's yeah, baked beans and shit are great. And then Germany had like stick kebabs. That was like the highlight. We had like we literally had
German
like
kebabs. Fuck,
oh dude,
that's
we
not
had
something I would have
we
picked.
had
Dude,
like
no,
a fucking
kebabs are
kebab like
different,
every day.
Damn.
Yeah, they were like
I think-
elite.
Yeah,
It's
I think
basically just,
6
like,
of my last 8 meals were kebabs.
yeah, it was literally just like pretzels or like bread for like breakfast, and then like oh shit, and then like a kebab for like dinner, and that was like it. It was like pretty crazy.
Holy fuck.
But yeah, it was like actually pretty mint. But like apart from the food, tourist sightseeing stuff, France, like Trick said, we did half and half, which was really good. So the standard Paris stuff. London, it would have been sick if we were there when the Queen necked it, because then we'd have been like sick for like a few days. But unfortunately, we missed that. So it was pretty standard London stuff. Looking at like,
You can't say the Queen necked.
Australian podcast.
Did you
It's true.
Australian podcast. Anyway, yeah.
did
Oh,
you
like,
guys visit like a fast food chain like while you're there?
like
Oh, of course.
Like Macca's?
like-
yeah.
Yeah, like a French
Every
McDonald's.
Macca's.
Oh, yeah, I
Like
tend-
Le Quarter.
How many days?
Royale,
How many days until you like
the Royale with cheese.
until you like broke it? Like,
mate, I tested the Maccas in every country.
yeah.
London has like $1 McFlurries, which was like pretty insane.
Oh,
Oh,
And then they had mini McFlurries, which is 80 cents, which was pretty crazy. Otherwise, like France and Germany was basically like the same as like here.
okay.
And then UK had like a really good chicken sandwich thing, but it was pretty standard, but it was cheaper than what it was here. But yeah, the $1 McFlurries at London were dangerous.
Wow.
But yeah, otherwise, like London had a bunch of fast food chicken joints. It's like a lot of random chicken joints. And then yeah, Germany was just like we got to meet up with Khan.
Yeah.
And I reckon that, and that's where like yeah, we got to do a lot of sightseeing there. Like we didn't play much Smash in Germany, to be honest. It was more just like actually getting out about with friends. So that was like yeah, a really good part for sure.
Last thing I'll quickly ask about the trip is like, did you have any like distinct culture shock seeing it's like both of your first times in Europe traveling as an adult? Like anything crazy different to back home?
It was just more like the language barrier, to be honest.
Okay.
We got around like France. Oh, what was really funny is like on the second or like maybe the first time we hopped on a train in Paris, we like got on it and sit down, and like these two cunts with like an accordion. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, accordion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's two accordion players rock up in the.
Yeah.
oh, was that like official
Inside the train.
entertainment, or was it like a busking thing in the train?
No, it's just like I guess like a busker. It was really fucking loud as well.
I see it on the trams in Melbourne. Like I see.
They don't start playing music on the train. Like
Oh,
it's
I do. I've seen that when I first came to Melbourne.
I've never seen
Outside
that.
Melbourne Uni to Flinders, someone was doing an accordion.
No,
Like,
the difference is that in Melbourne
Accordion.
they're a raid boss, but in France it's entertainment.
Like, this was just authentic.
No, it was definitely a
crazy.
raid boss for them too. It wasn't for us. But
Everyone
like,
on the French trains are just like red
you gotta
balls
get
on
this
their
fucking
phone.
guy. Get him out of here, please.
So
No,
But yeah, like-
some money, but we said he spoke English, so
Yeah, I
just
just-
after the.
I didn't think there was any cultural shocks. You could kind of get around like normal, but yeah, their language barrier was kind of the only main thing I noticed. I don't know about you, Sriks.
Pretty much the same thing. I think it's even in the Smash tournaments, basically everyone spoke English, so it was pretty easy to get around. A lot of like internationals as well, like not from France, who have to speak English if they want to be traveling. apart from that, like nothing super different. I think just Germany, like we were with Khan and Tarek, a lot of it, and Weo, who housed us. They basically like handled all the like the culture shock shit,
Cool.
which is like pretty good for us. Like, we just have to deal with eating food, traveling around,
Nice.
seeing places.
Was it cold?
Yes.
Only in Berlin at the end, and London was a bit chilly, but like Paris definitely was not.
Do they keep their milk out on the shelf in the supermarket?
That's a good question. We didn't buy milk. I mean, every time I bought like chocolate milk, it was always in the fridge, but like otherwise, all their other shit was on the shelf.
I'll give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Fair enough. But
France. Then.
France.
I was saying France had really good chocolate milk.
Oh.
Johnny can attest to that.
God,
That's like their number one
Down some
export,
French
I
chocolate
think.
milk. Holy shit.
French tricky milk.
God, that's
Yeah.
dangerous.
One
yeah,
day.
dude.
Go to
Go to France for chocolate milk. Just a 1 day layover.
Dude, I think France definitely had the best supermarkets out of all three countries, for sure. That's my rating. France, Germany, UK.
Sounds like
Did you say
the
UK
UK
sucks?
sounds like the UK is a load of shit.
It's just like a shit Australia.
Yeah, dude.
Like fuck. I don't know.
Yeah.
The only good
It's
thing
way more
was, like,
expensive as well.
yeah, the only good thing was going to the pub because like a pint was like $4 Australian. Like it was really cheap. The alcohol, but otherwise, like everything cost you like an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Basically.
And the $1 McFlurry. That's
Yeah, that was about it. But otherwise, it was
So it's just like UK's got the conversion rate down, but like everything else is a load of shit, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Did you guys end up hitting that club? I can't remember who was talking about it.
Bergheim?
Yeah.
Dude, we didn't go to Bergheim, but we tried going to Kit Kat. That was really interesting. Because we didn't know anything about it.
What was it?
There's like it's a club, right? It's like a fancy, like high-end club. I don't know, something like that. We got into the line thinking it was like, oh, it's just like a normal regular club. You can go in, wear whatever you want. We look it up like 5 minutes before we get in, and there's a
there's
a dress code.
Looking around in the line. We're like looking around in the line, and we look so different than everyone else.
Yeah.
the exact same thing happened to us, actually. Yeah.
Fucking like collars and like belts like around their chests and that kind of thing.
It's like a leather fetish sort of thing, yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like us. It was like us. This is them, It's just like it just happens to be them wearing that kind of stuff, and
It's just leather night at Kit Kat.
Yeah.
It's leather night. Yeah, that's what
It's
we
like
thought.
an emo night.
Some guy like 5 minutes before we got in was like, "No, you guys definitely aren't getting in. I'm telling you that now before you even get to the gate." Like, what do you mean? We're just like 5 minutes away. Give us a shot. It's like, no, you're not. You're not. Just turn away now. All right. Cool, mate. And we get there, the security guard does not even look at us. He looks at Khan and is like, no, next. I'm like,
he like looked at me. I was at the front. Well, our strategy was to put me at the front because my Aussie accent would have maybe got us through. And
dude,
like, he's like, nah, get out. I'm like, fuck, all right. Yeah, it did not work out.
Yeah.
It did not work out. We were dressed normally, and then like all the cunts around us were like weird fetish, like leather looking people, and so we were very much out of place. Yeah,
Nice.
It's very funny actually.
So that was the end of the nightlife in Europe, right there, or?
that night sucked.
Oh.
Yeah, that night
We didn't
wasn't.
get any.
It's better than Oz?
Uh,
in general?
Not where we went. I mean, like on Saturday, because I was like around 11, we didn't get in, and then from that point onwards, literally every single club had like a 2-3 hour wait line. Even at like 3 a.m., we went to like a club, and it still had like a 2 hour wait line, and it was just like fuck trying to get in after like 11 p.m. Like the kick-out line that we didn't get into, the line's usually like 3 to 4 hours to get in. But we got there like 30 minutes before it opened, and we had to wait like 35 minutes. But like it was just impossible to get out anywhere else on that night, so it was grim. But we went out on the Friday night instead and had much more success.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry.
Save that story for after the podcast.
We'll,
I don't know if it's a podcast and this has got a friendly rating.
yeah, we'll come back to it, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe drop a DM.
Podcast after dark.
But
Yeah.
you can actually find out on the Patreon. Oh, wait, no, I'm joking. With
No.
with Tarek and True 4, or sorry, not True 4. I keep Khan. That's his name, right? Yeah. So they were homies for you in like Germany and stuff. But like, were there any other like notable people across the other countries that like really helped, like housing or showing you around, or even at tournaments that were just like super cool and helpful? Like, who were the unsung heroes that you met on the trip? I guess.
No one liked Khan and Tarek in Germany. Like we didn't have that in France or UK really. But I like the tournaments itself, like Flo really helped like kinda
Like the rope.
recommend us to the road player, yeah. I messaged him before we went to Europe and he kind of a road player. Actually I didn't get to play him at all, which is kind of sad, but yeah. Dude, I tried so hard. I tried for like 4 days in a row, but he lived like 2 hours away from us. And he didn't go to Wanted either, so I couldn't play him.
Damn.
It is what it is. So he really helped us out. Oh, Pew helped me for a little bit, and he's a super homie. The Nest player from France. He just like, if I can like, he's got this like single bedroom, single bedroom, one kitchen apartment, and he was housing like Siskoe, Andreas FN, Lancelot, and like 2 other guys as well. Like 2 people on the sofa, 1 guy on the ground, 2 people sleeping in his bed with him. I'm like,
that's sick.
Go off, man.
That is sick.
Do what you gotta do, yeah.
Damn.
He's good. He makes really good food too.
Yeah, everything's quivering right now.
I'm freaking out. That's Connor's dream right there.
Damn.
Pew, I think Pew probably helped us a lot in France as well.
That's sick as. And like, obviously you guys went to like a lot of locals while you were there. Were there any like major differences with how they run compared to what we do here?
Yeah, so there was only one big difference that like fucked us over on the first day. So you have to bring your own GameCube adapter to all these tournaments. So like they don't supply any GameCube adapters for any of the setups.
All the setups are there, but no GameCube.
All the setups are there, but no GameCube adapter.
Dude, there was a guy at the Arcadian who did that actually. He was just like carried his fucking GameCube adapter around.
That's what country?
Yeah.
Australia, mate.
Joe price of the Vic Arcadian. Cultural exchange.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So like on the first day, I was like going to the setup and had like no adapter there, and none of us had an adapter. So we were playing on like this like dog shit like third party adapters, and I played like a match on stream against like a Palu Echo that we all played, and like I didn't realize that the stream setup also had no GameCube adapter, and like he had
the stream setup.
No, not in the stream. So like he brought his own third-party adapter, which like wasn't even Mayflash. It was just like pure shit. And like I had to play, and I could barely get like any inputs out. And so I almost lost to him, but it was like atrocious. And then I had to play for after and lost and like DQ'd. But like that tournament was like so shit because you had to bring your own GameCube adapter, and then like Sriks didn't bring his, and then Sriks brought his to the next tournament, and then lost it. And then he had to share a GameCube adapter with me, and he like fucking left his controller. He didn't bring his controller for the first tournament, so we were sharing my controller, and we didn't have a GameCube adapter. So we were just like holding the whole tournament up, like just trying to get matches between us. It was just a fuckfest, yeah.
I know, we gave it back. We DQ'd from speed it up a little bit, you know.
Yeah. No, we dropped.
Back to the
it was like 12 a.m. But yeah, you have to bring your own adapter and stuff, which is like the biggest difference. Otherwise, it's like same old, really.
I mean, that first local sounded like dog shit anyway, being jet lagged and stuff, right? So.
Yeah, we weren't there to like win. We were there to just play Smash, get a bit of experience, beat the scene, sort of thing. So, yeah.
They also had a weird thing, like the tournament on the Friday night and the all-day Saturday tournament were in the same venue. And the first one ran till like 1 a.m. or some shit like that.
It was delayed. I remember
like
I was like wanted to watch it and like, when's it starting? I thought it was meant to start like 2 hours ago or whatever. Yeah,
it's like an hour late.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty late, yeah.
Damn. Shit, man. Imagine if we did that at Phantom and we were just like, yeah, sorry guys. Pools. What are you gonna do?
Got delayed a little bit, sleeping.
Yeah.
Alright, so I reckon from here, we can just go in order of the tournaments then.
Yeah, instead
the
of
first one was a shit show, from the sounds of it. Sorry.
For us, it was, yeah.
Yeah. and then there was like the monthly or the regional or whatever the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, sorry, Garrett, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna do a point to transition the conversation, but you have something to
Can
say.
I ask, like, how often, like, how is the French, like, do they have locals on every day? Is it like, what's the like local scene like? Is it
Pretty
like,
much.
Yeah,
So
like
is
every,
it- so
every
it's-
Pretty much
single
every
day.
day.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then yeah, like a weekend tournament usually.
Uh,
are they all
Well, they have-
like
they have
is
smaller
most of it
ones.
in Paris or?
But it's all over, literally.
All
You look
over
at this,
the
you look at the
France.
Smash calendar for France, and it's like full of tournaments.
Yeah.
But Paris has one every second day,
Okay.
with the Wednesday and Friday one being more stacked than the Monday one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sounds insane to like live there for Smash then.
Dude, it's like Victoria
Yeah.
accelerated.
Oh, it's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Legit.
So we went to like a local on the Wednesday, and then the Wednesday after, it literally had like 6 top players there. It had like Chag, Rayflow, Orion, Flo, Mezcol, just okay,
OG.
like literally like all their top players just went to like a local, and it gets like 80-ish entrants, which was
And like 8 of them are like PGR or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
exactly.
it's fucking
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
And then they have like
crazy.
another local on Friday, which is like sometimes nearly stacked. Like they still get like a few PGR level players there, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after the Friday local, which we DQ'd from, and then got an Uber home, and then the tire broke and the tire popped on the way.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So
I was
fucking
like, we got an Uber home, and the tire popped, and we had to walk and get on the Uber. So shit was already bad.
Yeah.
And then the
The
Saturday
guy,
one.
the guy also didn't. The guy didn't cancel that Uber while he was like trying to fix the Uber for like half an hour as well. So we
What a
get charged.
We
That's
did speak
crazy.
like
English,
half-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
and
was
then,
fucking weird, man.
then our second Uber kept taking the wrong way home and delayed us by another 15
Yeah.
minutes. Yeah, God, just more.
Dude, I fucking in the time. I guess it's happened to you guys. I don't know if they've had like a committee meeting or something, or like all the Uber drivers of the world. But they fucking suck dick now. Like the last month, dude. I'm this close to just like not getting another fucking Uber in my life. People going the wrong way. People fucking.
Yeah.
I had this one at work. Not to deter the conversation so much, but the guy stopped in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, hey man, like I know your license plate, like you're picking me up." And then he just drove off, and I look at my phone, and I've been copped a $10 cancellation fee from the fucking Uber driver, and you can't dispute these either. The cancellation fees, you can't really
Can you
dispute
not?
these. You have to like
Sick.
call up like Uber, and I'm like, dude, it's $10. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you just made $10. Good job. Like, you're fucking farming. And then, like, I'm like, oh, I need an Uber home, so I got to call up another one. And then the same fucking dude accepted. and then I guess he realized, and he instantly cancelled. Like, he's like, no cancellation fees. He instantly cancelled. He was not dealing with that heat.
Oh,
Because
shit.
if he cancelled a second time, it was getting called up. That bloke was done. Fuck, dude. It was unreal. And yeah, this guy's fucking trying to fix a tire. Probably doesn't even know what's going on. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm making bank right now, dude.
That's crazy.
Fucking bro. Yeah.
But yeah, how'd the regional go?
Yeah, nice. Anyway, after a successful Uber to the tournament in the morning, we all got there safe and sound.
Yeah.
Bin was wave 1 and Sriks was wave 2, and I think Paul's was smooth for Bin and I. We got through out okay, but I think Sriks had a bit of a rough start.
Lost to 2 links.
Mate.
I lost to my round 1 link who I beat the previous day. And then lost to Link 91. Yeah, at like the final round of pools. That's what I was kind of like. That's when I was starting to think like, I'm pretty sick of all these guys knowing the fucking Roy matchup and getting like fucking knowledge checked by different
I'll
shit.
see you like all played
stuff.
Roy, like the first 2 days, basically.
I basically played Roy. A little bit of Sephiroth, but it didn't go so well. But these guys did alright. I think Ben and Jono made it out pretty fine. But
Yeah.
top 8?
No, so I made it out pools. I went like game 3 with a Joker. Arts and Nib. They're all a bit of a funny fellas, these French
Yeah, I
people.
saw him in the play
Yeah.
camps, mate. He was.
Yeah, they're all
Was I-
funny.
Yeah.
Look, the French scene is very
I haven't played it.
You can
Very
take that both ways.
passionate.
You take that both ways. And yeah, Ben and I got out, no dramas. And I was second seed for the tournament, which was a little bit surprising now that I looked at the entrance. No, Toru, that Pichu was the first seed. Then I was second, and I think Flo was fourth, and maybe Orion was third, something like that.
Jesus.
And I was second. And then I had to play Bowser Go Getter. And I lost to him 2-0 straight out of pools. I think like at that point I wasn't quite settled in yet. I was still pretty tired, but I was still kind of finding my play and getting used to the tournament environment. And I hadn't warmed up much because I was like pretty nervous asking French people for friendlies because I just like wasn't sure. I'd like go up to a guy and ask for friendlies, and like
Yeah.
I'd be worried you speak no English, and I'd just be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Or like the culture of asking friendlies as well, right? Like,
Yeah, like I just wasn't sure. So I wasn't really warming up much either. So not putting myself in a great spot. And then yeah, I lost to this Bowser player who was good, but I just was still a bit shaking, couldn't get going yet. And then I made quite a bit of a losers run. I beat a Min first 2-0, which was pretty tough. Then I played Night Pixel, which was a Kirby. And yeah, first game of that was like last hit, and then second game I fucked him up. And then I was up to the final round before top 8, so this was like loser gets knife. And the guy played Falcon, and I got up 2-0 in maybe like 3 minutes. I like fucking destroyed him, and then he stopped to Incineroar.
broken ass character, bro.
And yeah, he stopped to Incineroar, and I was like, oh, this should be fine, right? And so I was just playing my usual game, like I was playing against Falcon, and he was like revenging everything. I was like, oh fuck, like shit. But I was like, that's fine. Probably doesn't know what he's doing. And like he's like a lolling whipping me at 40, I'm like dying. I'm like near town. And I'm like, oh, this is fine. And so like game 3 was like pretty even. And then I was at 140 rage, and I was at 60, and Alolan killed me on the ledge with no rage or no revenge. And I was like, oh fuck. Anyway, and then like he had a crowd was like popping off, and he took the aim, and I was like, oh. This Incineroar's got me shooketh because like fucking revenge. Like, what do I do? He was like revenging my returning boomerang. So like my game plan was getting a bit shaken up here. Anyway, the next game was fucked because I took him to Lilac because I was like, oh, I'll try to get him on a stage that like he probably never played on in his life. And it was like similar thing. It was like living forever, and I like couldn't kill him. Anyway, so he was at 190 second stock, and I was at 10% my last stock. And he Alolan whipped me on the ledge, but he deliberately didn't hit me. He like did the thing where you don't get hit up or you don't get hit behind.
Yeah, you just don't press the button.
Yeah. But like I buffered an air dodge off stage because I thought it was like gonna hit me, and I was like almost gonna die at 10.
Classic.
And then like he like downed me at like 10%, and so he won game 2 after won game 4 after like I was like winning and just getting like cheese. And then it was like game 5, and I was like, oh fuck, like I'm full on shook here. Incineroar, I was like, fuck, this is like unfair. I'm getting like revenge.
Yes.
And then I went in game 5. Went in game 5, and I won it last hit because I did boomerang fair and missed it, and then he air dodged on stage, and I frame trapped him with an F smash. That was awesome. And then I was in top 8 now, and I had to play the winner of Bin and Vince. Who's also a Link player. And look, as much as I love Bin, I kind of wanted Vince to win because I wanted to play a different Link. Like, I didn't want to have to fucking make top 8 and then play Bin's Link, like, again. I wanted to, like, to at least see what it's like playing against a different Link.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bin got reversed through hero and lost, which is unfortunate. And then I played Vin shortly after, and I, like, obliterated him. He just like had no idea like what was going on. You know what to do. I just like kind of had all the answers for everything he wanted to do. So it was a pretty clean match. It was done relatively quickly, but I felt super comfortable, and he was a bit unsure. And then after that, I had the Bowser again that I lost to in winners, go getter. And I was feeling like much more comfortable at this point, and I like 3-0'd him in like 5-10 minutes. It was Bowser player, and I just did my usual thing, and it just worked out. And then I had the Ridley player.
Oh, the GOAT, apparently.
Yeah. Mezcall, whatever it was. Yeah.
He hit him boss, apparently, even though he's the best Ridley in the world.
I was going to say, he's not like a hit him boss. He's beaten Glutiny before.
Yeah, exactly.
He's beaten, like, all these players.
And then...
So I was like going into this match, I was like, oh, like, this should be fine. John League does well into Ridley, and like my flowcharts are just like kind of overwhelming. in the end, and it turns out he's nuts on the sticks and knows
The
how to,
upbeat dude. Oh,
yeah, he knows how to fucking maneuver around shit and actually like hit me. And then I was getting knowledge checked by like Ridley like nonstop. Like I didn't realize up tilt was like a combo start off like up air and then like up air goes to the stage and all this shit. His leg trapping was like super good. But yeah, he was really good. I just was kind of a bit in all sorts, and then I got up big game 3 after I started adapting, which was a bit grim. But yeah, that like ended my tournament like 4th out of like 120, which honestly was not a bad result considering it was my second tournament and like second, third day in France, and I was still feeling pretty jet lagged. So it wasn't a bad result in the end. For sure.
Whoosh.
Yeah. Apparently, Ben was the only one that.
What happened to you in this tournament?
Solve the wound. I lost in pools to 2 links.
That's how it is.
Oh, you didn't make it out of pools even.
No, I didn't make it.
He said this already, mate.
Okay. I thought he just lost in winners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's why I was staying so silent while Jono was doing his spiel. I had nothing to say.
What were you going to say about that?
No. Yeah, so Ben also got to this Flow tournament, which is really good to see, like how a different deals with Ben. I feel like I don't remember exactly how the set went, but it wasn't like a complete wash. Like he was kind of keeping it close, juggling disadvantage. But like I think Flo just is like way too clean with like landing his conversions and like really recognizing when things will like kill. As like a general meta note, I think a lot of the high or top level players that I versed on the weekend and was watching versus like Ben and John and all that was like they really like know when their stuff will kill, and they will only really go for like the riskier options when they're like pretty sure that they can actually like do the high reward thing, like a good combo or like a kill option. Like you want to start jabbing at like at ledge when it'll like start killing, or Chaggle and do like back airs as like air dodge reads, like when it'll start killing, like that kind of thing. I think he did that pretty well versus Bim as well. They had a showcase match versus Orion. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Showcase.
Like later on that day.
I did not see.
I did not know this happened.
This was after
it was like a showcase. Yeah. But that was also like pretty good. Fucking late as hell. But I think we discussed it after that. Well, like everyone in this country's a freak at the top level. They all play like really fast. They all know their conversions like super, super well. So it's like very hard to kind of adapt that quickly, like in that sort of environment. So it's really good to play those players.
It sounds like they don't kind of waste reads basically, or it's like they're not going to present the jab option until it's like, oh yeah, this will work once I do present it. Pretty much. It's not like that classic like, oh, I'm jabbing with Roy at 60 at ledge. I get it back at, they're off stage again. Like, sure. Like, whatever. Cool. I guess, like, we could either talk about, like, the majors that happened, or we can go into more of a meta discussion. Which would you guys like to touch on first?
We're only 1 week in, mate.
I know, mate. We gotta keep going through the weeks in France, right?
Well, after that, we just had like a local on the Monday, which was like pretty standard. We were just like a level above everyone. There was like a good Lucario player there.
Lucario?
Yeah.
He ended up getting at Wanted. I think he ended up getting like the same place. He got
17th as well.
Because I was like, I looked at the weekly and I was like, these two have just won. Just like gotten top 2, and then someone was like, the Lucario's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Lucario was good.
Yeah.
But like that was about it. Like that local was just a good Lucario. He like beat Sriks and winners, and then Sriks kind of made the losers run up and got him in losers finals.
Oh, okay.
And then it was a fantastic grand finals match between Sriks and I. So I'll leave it at that.
So I think.
Sorry.
I think by this point, Shrix, you've switched from Roy to Sephiroth full time for the rest of E, right?
You played Roy.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I still played Roy. I changed pretty much the solo stuff at Wanted. We can get to that when we get to Wanted.
Yeah.
We had like another weekly, but we'll just skip over the weeklies because like
It's weekly.
we still have 2 more majors to go through.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
We'll touch on this Wednesday local a little bit, though.
Yeah, go.
Yeah,
for
go.
it.
Oh, this is one where you lost to Orion? Is it
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that was like interesting. I mean, like apart from that, we're at Disneyland throughout the day, so we're sweating our ass off, and then we came to this local, which was in a basement, which we were also sweating our fucking ass off again. So we were like actually drenched all day, and then we went to like this, sweaty ass local, and it was a bit grim. But yeah, it was like pretty standard again. Got to winners finals where Sriks played Orion in semis. I beat Bin in winners quarters. Game 3 last hit. And then Shrix, I guess you can touch on your match versus Orion first, because then you had a good discussion with him afterwards. It'd be interesting to hear.
yeah, we'll probably talk about
In the meta.
we had like a pretty long.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about like the Orion discussion when we get to like the whole meta stuff later on. But like the actual match itself, I played 1 game of Roy, 1 game of Seth. He played all Joker. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like the Seth match, I like SD'd twice or some shit. And the Roy match was like kind of fine, but like obviously he has like a lot of flow experience, I imagine, and I think he knows the matchup pretty well. I think like the one thing he mentioned specifically about that match with Roy was like you need to like mash. You need to know when you can mash like way more, and on top of that, like mix up your timings so that they don't know when you're coming in, so that they can't like whip punch you super easily. I think if you go back and we can't watch the match because it got deleted straight away, but if you were to look at the match, you'd probably see like that kind of thing where I was getting whip punished a lot with like grabs and dash attacks. I think I was getting around his ledge traps alright, and his like edge guards were fine, but like you get edge guarded once, like that's fine. That's like the stock. So like even if you miss his 4 or 5 edge guards, like getting 1 edge guard is like pretty big.
Against Joker. That's
Like Arsene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that, and I lost to a Samus in losers, which Ben also lost to. But Ben had just done like 4 assignments or some shit. He almost munted on Space Mountain.
What the
And he came
fuck?
to this tournament on 2 hours of sleep. So I can't really blame him for any of
And
his
his
losses
controller
that day.
broken as well.
Dude.
Yeah, and his
Fucking
controller's
hell.
broken. He really copped it that week, honestly. But especially that day, it was not great for him. It's alright though. It's like a bit of birthday dreamland. Smash on.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
Dude, poor Binyamin.
Yeah, that was our run.
Yeah,
Big
so then I played like Orion in winners finals and grand finals because I beat the Samus in losers finals, and it just seemed like Orion and I had an extremely like fast-paced match, but I was almost like trying to play like his game, where I was trying to like equal his speed, but because I was pressing like so many buttons, he was like equally calling that out with like wolf buttons. And he was like super experienced in the matchup because he beat Skittles at Genesis, where Orion got 13th, and he beat Skittles when he got 17th. And yeah, we were having this really like intense fast-paced matches, but he was just like his convergence, his speed was just like all a notch up, and I was trying to play like his level, and I just couldn't really keep up. And so it was 3-1, 3-1, but it was all pretty close. I just couldn't close out the games. And I was pretty upset that the VODs got deleted straight away. Like, they didn't save the broadcast at all, because it would have been really good to watch over and just, like, notice what he does and, what we're not doing. But I had a bit of a chat with him after the match, and he said that the best neutral out of any Young Link he's played, and I
Wow.
kept telling Ben and Shrix that all night, because he played Skittles, and Super Saiyan.
Yeah, we remember that too, man.
Yeah. Skittles and Super Saiyan. I was pretty good. I just was doing some predictable options. Like his reactions were like really on point, and if I was doing something, like I was doing a dare like too high up in the air, or all this sort of thing. So he just gave me like a bit of advice to like hit me on for the Wanted weekend. But like he was probably the best player I've played so far, and yeah, it was pretty valuable. stuff coming from him. But it was really good match, just quick close out. So that was like end of the locals until we went into Wanted now.
Yeah. Actually, did you want to quickly touch on what Orion mentioned to you, Sriks? Before we head into Wanted.
You want me to do that now? Yeah, I can do that now. So first we talked about just like Roy in general. He said that he like sat down with like Flo and Gluto and a few of the others after the CEO that Cola won.
Yep.
What he said there was like the way they think of Roy now is that Roy kind of has this like bubble around him where he's just like allowed to just press buttons because he's like he has really good buttons for basically like every direction as long as he's like allowed to be in that sort of range, right? So the most important thing that like Flo was working on after watching Cole a lot was like trying to understand how he could like get his opponents into that bubble. Like, especially if they're above him, like, you can't really enter that, because, like, you do an up air, then you can frame trap them to something else, or just set yourself up to a lead situation after that, right? And if they're not inside that bubble, then, like, you really just, like, want to wait. Like, sometimes you'll watch Flo, or Collar doesn't really do this as much, but, like, Flo will just, like, stand there for, like, just, like, half a second, or, like, 2 seconds, and then he'll go in after that, or like he'll wait for you to like do like a roll in or like a dash in or something like that. Right? And that's the way he'll like really mix you up, where you're trying to like beat him out preemptively before he gets to you, or trying to like whip punish him right. But if he's not even approaching you in the first place, and if you do the preemptive thing and he's just waiting there, then he'll punish you for that. And if you wait there, then like it's fine. He's still waiting there. But you can't be like as ready for the whiff punish.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of what he said, we also talked about EU in general. I don't know if do you want to wait for the whole meta discussion after that, or
yeah, we can wait a bit. We'll just run through the matches, then we'll go into meta. But
yeah, sure.
Wanted, fellas.
Wanted
Platinum event.
Platinum. How is the venue? Actually,
true.
I'm curious.
Actually, wait,
Really?
can I ask one thing before first as well? What was with Wanted? There was like, I heard there's some like controversy. Because like there's quite a few players that were not there that you think would be there, right? You said like players like Flo. I think Rafflo wasn't there either. Like just some notable EU players. Do you know what happened to that?
Because mostly French players are boycotting the event.
Yep.
I think it's on Twitter, so I can say this, but like, people have issues with the way the TO NTK runs things.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics. When I asked some players in France, they're like, "Just enjoy the event, man. Don't worry about it. Just be ignorant. It's bliss. It's bliss.
It's beyond you. Yeah, exactly.
It's beyond you." It's really good. So it was like they all said like he has some issues, but like the events he runs are like legit. Like, he has like a lot of sponsors, they're bringing international players, really good venue, all run on time, that kind of thing. But
yeah, I think part of it was mostly he doesn't like communicate with other TOs. Like he just does everything himself and like fuck everyone else sort of thing. And I think like the TO like French players are sick of it because like for example, Boss Battles got fucked over by Wanted because the TO Wanted NTK didn't like announce that he was running this event on this weekend after Boss Battles had locked in like the next weekend for like the whole year. Damn. And so like I think people are kind of sick of that shit of him just being like, oh yeah, like.
So not to call out anyone specific in Australia, but it's kind of like a Thorpe NATO, but he actually runs the tournament well. Is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to call out anyone.
Can I ask?
Not specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Who?
I mean, yeah.
I think he's just like a bit of a cock all around. That's what some of them were saying. So yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I heard the crew battle was first, right?
It was a 4-day event, wasn't it?
It was Squad Strike on the Thursday. Squad Strike on the Thursday, doubles on the Friday.
4 days. Fuck.
Yeah. The Squad Strike doubles, singles on the Saturday, like singles pools on Saturday, and then the World Cup, the crew battles on Saturday night, and then Top 128 was on the Sunday.
Damn.
Fuck my life.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, what did you play? You entered Squad Strike Sriks, didn't you? And you got
You did
pretty
doubles?
Oh, how did
lost the
Dubs go?
fatality
Oh, yeah.
to get 7th squad strike. I lost like my round 1 or 2 in squad strike, and then I had to make a bit of a losers run.
Yep.
This Lancelot convinced me to play Crom.
That's
I was
cheating.
like, this
Yeah,
guy's-
I'm disappointed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Playing
you're allowed to
Crom.
do that for some reason.
No,
but I'm
it's
like,
cheating.
fuck it, I'll do it. Yeah, it is. And you can't edge guard Crom and squad strike. I just had a fucking edge guard with their secondary pocket character.
Yeah.
I was wanting the Sriks Game & Watch to make an appearance.
I did. I lost my round 2 with Game Watch. That's not like I can't do this. It's fine. It was fine though. I used him in a money match versus Tarek and I won with Game Watch, so
Oh my god. I don't want to know this lore, actually.
Yeah.
dude, I did so many money matches. Like, okay, the one thing I wanted was like a shit ton of money matches on like especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think that was like for me like the most important part of like figuring stuff about my play and like just getting like a shit ton of experience. Like I think Jono and Ben, they more so like sat down with players for like an hour or two, but I was just going around doing like best of 5s.
Did you money match
I
Japanese
think.
players?
Money match Asimo. I
Aston.
didn't much about money match anyone else. Yeah. I won that one 3-2.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, no, I asked that because it's like when we went to Korea, we asked about Gapped and Kept about money match culture, and they don't, that doesn't exist over there, and in Korea it doesn't exist either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like wondering if like the Japanese players do it, like if any of them were willing.
Yeah, well, Asimo was willing. I think the others would have been willing. I did ask Shoot on, but I think he was busy. And with the others there, I versed T in tournament. Zachary, yeah. Zachary's tiny, just as an aside. He's like a little young.
Actually, like a midget.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah.
It's just like funny to see him in real life. But
You're just like, man, this guy's so good, but you're like 4'8", like a good fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
he's a real guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I versed like a few other like top players like Lancelot, Base Mage. I versed Chag. I got 300 by Chag in the money match.
That's funny.
Yeah. Just like on a whim, I analysed that set. So at some point in the UK, I didn't realize I was going to verse Chag that weekend. So I
Damn.
think that actually kind of ended up helping out. Yeah.
There we go.
He told me to backhand more. Crazy
Oh,
how he reckons that.
Mike.
Just Penalty can't do anything about it. Apparently, he was right. So there you go.
There we go.
Could have asked Anthony
Yeah.
that one, mate, a few months ago.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying man.
But,
Top 3 cartoon in the world.
Looking, oh my god, I hate this bit so much. Where he's like, dude, even the best pilotator in the world could be Sriks, and now he's fucking
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, too much back to move around.
Looking at
Was Wanted was Wanted the doubles bracket that Jono, you ended up in like winners side grands? Was that one?
No, that was Boss Battles.
Okay, yeah. How was doubles at this one?
Yeah, I didn't see how you guys went in dubs.
Well, Ben and I teamed, and we were cleaning up at the start on our like first few matches. We had to play like a double Zelda, like the second round, and I was like seriously looking at the rope. But we ended up winning it pretty easily because Pit Nair and Young Nair is combos of each other, which was fun. And then that Zelda team had like a huge losers run. They won like 5 or 6 straight sets. But then Ben and I played Shuton and Zachary in quarters.
fuck.
And it was like really close. We got Zachary played Game & Watch, and Shuton played Olimar. Game 1 we got them both for like last stock. So then in game 2 they were both on like 100% last stock. Because we were kind of fucking up Zachary. Like his Game & Watch was like fine. It was like no problems at all. But Shuton was like fucking us up. We'd like run at him and take like 60% because like Olimar was just like, what are we doing? So that was like, it was actually a really close match. We just couldn't clutch it out. Unfortunately, And then we lost our next round and loses to like a Snake Luigi player, which was a pretty grim match. Bin and I both lost a 1v1, and they were both going ape shit, which was disappointing because after I said to Bin after game one, I had a 1v1 with the Luigi, and I lost it. I got like fucking screamed at like 50. And I said, and they like popped off, and I said to Bin, if we beat these cunts, I'm gonna say "Bon voyage, cunt" in front of him and walk off. And then and then we won the next game, and then like it was like the Snake versus Bin game 3, and Bin lost it, and then they like went ape shit. I was like, fuck, I didn't get, I was so wanting to say it, but then yeah, so we bowed out at 9th out of like 90 teams or something.
Bon voyage.
Yeah, of course.
Bon voyage, coming. I was so desperate to say it because Ben was like, "You to say this, mate." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, fuck these guns." Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, my round was with Lancelot. After that, nothing too interesting happened, but they had a really weird rule set I wanted.
Oh, true. We should have talked about that.
How so?
Yes, so most of the tournaments we went to had like normal rule sets. This one is like you had 9 stages.
Oh no, it looks
One
fun.
of them was 7 stages.
Yeah.
It killed us at Dobbs. So we had like 7 the usual like town, small battlefield, all that. And then you got to pick 2 stages from a list of 5 to fill the last 2 slots of
Yoshi's
stage
Island
list.
Brawl was one of them, wasn't it?
Well, it was Yoshi's Island Brawl,
Yeah.
Holy Bastion, Yoshi's Story,
Northern Cave and Kalos.
Northern Cave, and Kalos, right? Just as like a bit, that's how I started like adding Yoshi's Island to our doubles matches. They're like, this is like a free band for them. There's no way anyone will take us there. And then fucking game 3 on stream versus like this Yoshi and Jigglypuff team. We leave it open. We've lost game 1. We won game 2. We leave Yoshi's Story open. They're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll take you there.
Yeah.
Worst decision of my fucking life. Oh my god, dude. That stage was banned long ago for a reason. Slants are awful. Like, you can't. Yoshi and Jigglypuff are floating around doing everything they want to do anyway, so it doesn't make any difference to them. But if you're just trying to like precise with like Sephiroth and like Roy and shit, it does not work.
Damn. That's fucked up.
So that was fun. Yeah. I mean, karma, but whatever.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And the normal rule set for singles was also like fine, right?
No, that's
It's
the
the
same
same
one.
one.
Oh, it's the
Same
same
It's
shit.
the same. So.
Yeah,
what's
same
like-
thing all weekend.
Are they charactered before stage there as well?
Yeah, that was the one good thing they did character before stage.
Alright, yeah, alright.
So that was fun. And, like,
in Korea, there were a bunch of filthy counter pickers, actually. Like, everywhere, because it's stage before character there. So,
Yeah.
like, suddenly the Mario's making an appearance on Yoshi's Story. Like, one of the
I need
players.
to change that,
Yeah.
man.
It's so crazy. It's so archaic.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
well. Like,
But yeah,
Yeah.
obviously you can't go through like your whole run individually. But what were like I have a few like notable sets written down here. Like Ramses versus Jono, or like Sriks versus Leon. That was really huge. Sriks versus T, and then the bin sets like did you guys
you
want to
know,
comment?
Jono vs. Space as well.
Oh yeah, Jono Space. Like, did you guys want to comment? Like any particular sets you want to go over? Like real quick.
I just want to go over. There was one funny thing that happened to me. So my final pools match, the dude was like underseeded. He was like 120th seed, but he ended up getting 17th at the tournament.
Fuck.
What was really funny is he approached me on the Friday and asked for friendlies. I had no idea who he was. I was like, oh, all right, like, hey mate, let's go play some friendlies. And we played for like an hour and a half.
Oh,
And then I asked, and then I asked what his tag was, and he's like, oh, it's Moofy. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I checked my bracket, and I had to play the cunt in pools, like literally, like the next day. So he gave like, and then like he asked for advice at the end of our session,
Oh!
and I was like, oh,
Dude, the
yeah,
guy.
I'm like, hey man, you're like gonna do this, and this. I'm like, and he's like, oh yeah, thanks heaps, man. I'm like, yeah, no worries, man.
Dude,
But-
the ultimate grind. That's sick.
Yeah. So I was like, I looked at my bracket, and then I realized like I'd got him, and I was like, oh fuck. I literally played this dude for like over an hour. He's like underseeded. He literally won like 2 tournaments in a row, and he's like seeded 120th because the TO hates him. And so I've got to play like him in pools like tomorrow, and I'm like, shit. And I was like,
Character.
he played Wario.
Alright.
And Luigi, but like he played Luigi and he hit every single zero to death, but he couldn't do anything else, and so that made him like scary because he could hit the zero to death, but his Wario was like an actual better character. Anyway, so I was in like the final round. I was waiting for him, and he had a dog shit Sheik, and he was playing some Rob, and he like played Sheik game one and like lost it, like last hit. I was like, yeah, nice one. And then he played Wario, and then like fucked him game two, and then like he lost game three. So like this Wario player had lost just like some shit Rob, and then like so I had to play like the Rob right after it, and I like dropped one stock in like for the whole match because it was fucking atrocious, and I was like playing pretty bad that day as well. So I'd like literally just like avoided the disaster.
The end, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Wario won like 9 straight sets. Like he literally like farmed through losers. So I got a bit lucky, but he went for the grind, and then he didn't even have to play me. So it was really funny. And then but going on, like, do you want to talk about the run or the World Cup?
Do the World Cup. That was first, right?
The World Cup was first, yeah.
Yeah.
So the World Cup. Yeah, so it was only single elim, and we played USA, which was funny. Because
was that round what? Was that round one?
That was round one, and
okay.
they had Harik, who, because they didn't have a third American, yeah, I was standard, cleaned him up, had base mage, was fucking outplaying him, got cheesed, so better player lost.
Yeah.
Then Ben had a bit of a rough cop, and Sriks did the magic.
Yeah. Fatality gave me wing and SD'd, which was pretty nice of him,
Fantastic.
honestly. Cheers for that. Yeah, I mean, he got his right back in the actual bracket, so it's what it is.
Yeah. Dude, you should have seen us in Twitch chat, bro. All these fucking Yanks crying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's all worth it.
They were like,
oh,
this is like the worst country, like all this shit, and they just lose.
Yeah, that was
good.
Awesome.
Dude, fucking Tarek grind us as well. He was supposed to stay in our Airbnb that entire weekend. Day one, he's like, actually, Riddles is closer to the venue, so I'm going to stay with Riddles for the next 3 days. And then we find him in the crew battle, and we're like, you're killing me right here, right now.
Damn.
So a bit of a poetic justice for that. He's fine though. We obviously hung out with him like every weekend after that. So just friendly banter. Yeah, then we saw.
I was literally about to say what you're going to say. Go.
Well, we watched Austria take like a single stock of Zachary.
Oh, Zachary.
Shoot on. Yeah. Which didn't give us high hopes, honestly. But I'll say we did a little better than that because we took down Zachary, taking all 3 of us, which is pretty nice. Yeah, I think Johnny took 1 stock or 2 stocks.
1. I should have taken 2 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it out. I was not playing great.
Yeah, it was pretty. I think it was a pretty grim like 2 weeks, at least in singles for Jono. Like you could talk about your on later, but yeah, definitely on the Saturday was not playing great either. I think it was fine. I don't know what happened with Ben. Ben took a stock.
He wasn't playing great either. Because he got his new controller with the snapback on fire, but the snapback wasn't right on the controller, so it was still getting like misinputs. So he said he wasn't playing great either. So it was like a pretty grim World Cup, except for like you and Sriks. Like a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I beat like Zachary like the last stock, and I had to play fucking Tease Kazuya, worst matchup in the game, versus Kazuya.
I just never played.
And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I haven't played this match before. The only thing I've seen about this is Vendetta's tweet about, I say you play the Roy matchup versus Kazuya, and I just nair in place and down to, I swear, 100% it'll work every single time. He takes the first stock some bullshit, and the second stock I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, nair. He does like a full hop, nair, beats my nair, and 0 to deaths me off of like that on the PS2 platform. I'm like, yeah, sick man. Thanks a lot for fucking Vendetta.
Actually, like, not an exaggeration, by the way. He literally like got full hop nair and died for it.
Yeah, no. you can look at the VOD. It's like that's what happens. Like that's sick, man.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Oh yeah, but he had played you. Yeah, he had me once and killed me for it. Sick shit.
It's not an outplay.
Yes. I mean, he did outplay me, but I should have died. Whatever. I'm not gonna get salty at a crew battle. Right, I'm better than that. I
Then-
swear.
Then you played him in the real bracket though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but bracket.
How was
Uh,
that one? It was
We actually just watched
I
it
guess
before
We
you
actually
rocked
just
up.
watched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally just watched it.
I just watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to play Seth at that. So for the actual match itself, like I haven't really played against Kazuya much, and I feel like when I was playing against T, I was just like, I don't know what to fucking do. I'm just gonna like retreat and back it, and hope he doesn't get through me. It didn't work because he got in eventually and like killed me pretty early.
Yeah, it was like you were kind of like cornering yourself with Sephiroth normally isn't that much of a problem because he's stalling so well, so good. But like, you were just like always in the corner, and you'd always keep by the fucking I don't know what it is, like the cripple, like
Oh yeah, he kept doing the jab 1-2, and then you'd roll behind him or roll like you did the rising move, the rising like punch move. You kept getting hit by that, and you'd die.
Oh,
Yeah.
the dragon uppercut thing.
No, Dragon Uppercut is the other one. No, it's like it's the the one where you have to do a while rising. You do jab 1-2 on you, one hit, and then you'd like roll
The
behind,
crouch
or
one.
the crouch one, yeah.
Yeah. No, like I just like didn't really know what to be avoiding versus him, and he was like really good at fighting kills like that. I feel like in town, I felt like a little bit better, but I think he was like trolling.
yeah, like
last
each game got progressively better.
Yeah, I want to ask,
Yeah.
like, does it feel like he's trolling? Because when I watch him, I'm like, this guy's trolling on Kazuya.
It feels like he's trolling, but I think like that's the way to play. That's
just
like
trolls.
that's the way he plays versus everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Well, no, his Pac-Man is like it looks pretty methodical, like how he plays. But then like the Kazuya, it's like rip out a dragon uppercut like randomly, and it'll probably hit though.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't hit, he's
Yeah.
not been punished somehow.
pretty much. Like I was like really looking forward to playing against this Pac-Man. I'm like, this is gonna be great, and I'll get some like good VODs to review, some shit like that. And I played him in the set. And I'm like, I don't think I get anything from this. Like I think I just need to learn the Kazuya matchup, and then I can play him properly like later on. But
yeah.
it is what it is. He's obviously still a very smart player, and I think I like lacked a bit of discipline off ledge, especially versus him. Which is like it was fine. I think it was a good like wake up call for later on. To like just stay chill at ledge a bit more, especially if the character can't hit you like meaningfully there. So yeah, that was fine.
Nice. And then there was also, how's your set versus Ramses, Jono?
So yeah, I was a bit in all sorts for that one. That was like losers after I made like a little bit of losers run. I'm not too experienced in the Shulk matchup at all. Like the last time I actually played a Shulk was True 4 back in May 2019, like in tournament. I played a few friendlies against Kanaji at Phantom, but I was not playing great then, and not really in the zone, so I didn't gain too much from that. But like I had a few things I wanted to work on in the set. Like I had a few things that I thought I needed to do against Shulk.
What makes the matchup like hard? I know it's meant to be Youngling's like bottom 2 matchup, but what actually makes it hard? Like what is there something else that's not on paper that just makes it really difficult?
Well, he zone breaks Youngling super easily. That like I'm gonna be super careful about my projectile play, because if I get any little bit overzealous, he hits me off stage, and then like I'm in a really bad spot off stage. Because once like, firstly, edge guarding is like fucked for Youngling. Like if I can't tether, I'm basically dead. But then even if I get like 2 ledge, then I have to do a Shulk ledge trapping, which is also just as bad, because fair covers holding ledge, it covers neutral get up, it covers like roll as well, because Youngling's roll so bad, and then it covers also neutral get up attack, and then jump if I don't time it right. So fair like covers everything, and then like I neutral get up, and like I don't want to roll because that fair covers that, but I got to be careful of holding shield, because then you can just then throw me back off stage, and then I'll like reset the situation.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of try find my way out of the corner, which I maybe can like a nair, but like that whole offstage ledge situation is just like really bad. And then getting the kill on Shulk is really difficult because he can obviously shield up through like all my kill confirms, and then I've reset to neutral, and now I have to get like another opportunity to kill him. So it can just be like really hard to kind of get the kill and get out of disadvantage. But obviously, like Young Link has a few good things. I can outframe data him, especially with like Nair and back air. Zair, which like in the air also works pretty well. Can kind of stuff him out. But it's the matchup's really on the Young Link to know it more than the Shulk, because the Shulk's game plan works, usual game plan works, whereas like Young Link's usual game plan doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I haven't adapted. I hadn't adapted my game plan, so I was like trying to do my sort of game plan against Ramses, but it just like wasn't working. I was trying to like force a lot of mix-ups on him, and it just was just not working because he's also super experienced against Young Link, playing against Super Semi, one of the best Young Links in the world, for sure. And so every sort of thing, I was kind of getting called out for a lot of my projectile habits, getting off stage and dying for it a lot. And so I lost game one pretty convincingly. Game two, I was starting to adapt a little bit. I got him to like last stock 50%, but then lost it. Game three, I won it last hit. So I was like figuring out, okay, I'm going to start empty hopping more, like being more careful with like these projectile patterns. And I was starting to figure it out a little bit. And then game four, he'd literally just like adapted to what I had adapted to, and like kind of swept me pretty comfortably on that one. So that was like, I just wasn't experienced enough in the matchup where he knew what to do, and he knowledge checked me, and I failed it. But at the it was still useful because at the end he gave me a lot of helpful advice and a lot of things to look out for going forwards. He told me about like the Shulk matchup and Young Link in the meta and like player habits and like what I should be doing. So I learnt a lot from that match, even though I didn't win it, unfortunately.
Did you feel something similar versus Space as well? Is this like the exact same thing happening?
Nah, that was different. That was like me being nervous and wanting to do well. That because I was really wanting to win, I played overly aggressive and tried to feel myself too much. Like I wanted to step up to the win, and I like played too overconfident and tried to do too much, where that actually backfired because I tried to force a bunch of stuff on him. I guess similar to Ramses, but it's like easier to do it against Paramithra. But Space had the answers to like Young Link's options, obviously, because he'd grinded against Super Semi as well. And I was just doing too much because I was just like too nervous, too wanting to win. And just the Young Link mix-ups and whatnot just didn't work out. It didn't feel like I lacked the matchup knowledge. At least I just didn't do what I needed to do to win.
Yeah,
like, it was just I was just trying to do too much when it was just like he knew what I was doing.
He just knew. I'm hearing like, did you guys feel a lot of like pressure with expectations for your countrymen at all, being in this different environment, or like how much? It sounded like it affected you quite a bit, Jono. Like
I personally did. I mean, this was my first like proper major, I would say, because like in America, it's National Tour, and then Let's Make Big Moves, which was a little bit scuffed because also a lot of DQ. It was like the prime COVID time, right? And then the rest of my majors got cancelled. And then this one was like my first Europe one, and I personally put myself on the same pedestal as like a lot of the top Euro players. Like I thought I was in the same category as them, which meant I thought I was able to kind of go all the way. Like I was able to go like a good distance. I was able to like do well. And because I had this pressure that like, I can really show like the world how good like I am Australia is, like I can show the country, what we're actually made of. I wanted to do well. And so, which is why the nerves and a little bit kicked in, and then I was just like overly shaky and whatnot. Like I did have that pressure of like really wanting to do well, and definitely not as much as Sriks and Bin. That obviously mindsets were very different to mine, but I can say that I did for sure.
Yeah. I guess then, like, how was your mindset going into everything then, Sriks?
Well, obviously, like, Jono is like the number one, right? So a lot of the eyes from internationals are on him. rather than like Banana. Even Ben, he's like got like huge Twitter clout, so everyone kind of knows him already. Like if we talk to someone in France, like, oh, you guys know Razy? Is he here today? Where is
Oh
he?
my
Where is he?
God.
Where is he? He's doing
He
his
got mad
assignment,
clout,
mate.
actually.
Yeah,
Even boss
legit.
battles, people ask me
Didn't
what
he
it
get
was.
seated above both of you
Yeah.
guys in an event, and you guys got
Initially.
to
Yeah, he
Well,
was.
for the local, they hadn't quite seeded it yet, but they put Bin like second seed, but they hadn't really seeded it yet. So
Okay.
as soon as they actually seeded it, then I was put above him.
Yeah.
But he was still above Shrix. He was above
Yeah.
Shrix like nearly all events actually.
I think he was seated above me at every event we went to.
Yeah.
Which like made sense because I think definitely for the first few weeklies he outplaced me or just did better in general. Yeah, I think my mindset going into it was like, this is my first time traveling internationally. Like, I don't have too many expectations. Like, I'm not versed in international in like 2-3 years. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what that meta is. So try it, see like how my usual game plan would work against them and like adaptation and that kind of stuff. Because like one thing I was focusing on in particular was like really trying to pay attention to like the moment to moment hits, like, oh, why did I get hit in this spot, like what, like, and explicitly telling myself like what is the answer to this mid game, because I didn't usually do that back in Australia, like before the trip. I think it ended up helping out, and in terms of nerves, I think I like a lot less nerves than Jono, just because I feel like I had like less to prove, as it were. Ben's not here, but I think I could probably say the same thing. He was pretty similar to me. I think Ben never really cares too much about results anyway, so he was fucking swimming in it before he even went, you know. So that's all right.
Sick.
I
Yeah.
think we should talk about the guys they actually beat at the event. We just talked about who they lost to.
Well, yeah,
But,
I was gonna say, like,
you beat Unsung Heroes, who is that how you pronounce his tag?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's meant to be like one of the best Belmonts in the world, probably.
Yeah.
Right?
He's playing Sephiroth now.
Oh,
Fun fact.
that's set go.
So cool.
Yeah, so that was right after top 32. We had to play Blue Sky, which was like a Yoshi, like a top Yoshi in Europe or in France. And that was different because I had like a fucking huge crowd. But it was like the last match of like one top 128. And so like I had like this massive crowd behind the set watching it. And I had the earbuds in. And like the French people were cheering louder than like when music playing. So it's like a pretty tense set just because the whole crowd environment. But I ended up winning it 3-1 after being a little bit shaky. And then, like, right after that, I had to play Noxenbra. And I didn't really know who he was, but people were telling me, you know, he's a really good Richter at that. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a crack. And then, like, game one, he's, like, kind of fucking me at the start. And then, because I was just, like, a bit unsure of, like, what I should be doing or whatnot, like, I was just a bit unsure. And then, like, I kind of settled down and I, like, fucked him from like that point onwards. Like I won game one after like choking a few edge guards, and then game two I like won pretty easily. Game three he beat me because I dropped my composure a bit. Like he set up a really good wall, and then like he would like try stuff out any approaches. But then I kind of realized that like I could just shield for free against him. So like I made the adaptations and he had it, and then game four I like 3-stopped him in like a minute and a half because like I was just like, all right, like I've adapted. I know what he wants to do, like what he can't and can deal with. And so yeah, I just was able to approach him free and just run over him pretty easily by the end. So he wasn't too experienced in the matchup by what I felt, and not like I wasn't super experienced against Richter, but I was able to adapt easier to him than what he was to me. So it was a pretty clean, easy.
I find that. I mean, I find Belmont's just like a massive knowledge check in general. It's always scary playing that character, right? Like how to get off ledge, how to deal with F tilt. But, like,
Cherry.
I suppose. What?
Cherry.
Cherry, yeah.
The goat. Just knows.
Paul Bolo.
F tilt is like a war crime thing. Like,
He's shooting the F tilt. I'm like, I don't want to show that move. That move is -8. Like,
Just
yeah.
and it's
It's a broken move, but you can kind of just hold shield against him for free.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like
Then-
my wins were just pretty standard at the event. Like it was nothing crazy.
But dude,
Yeah. But then Sriks.
Leon! Dude, I think the Leon win is
Leon.
fucking insane, actually. I feel like...
Mm.
No, everyone says this, actually. But that was... If I believe this is correct, you did money match him and won 3-2 earlier, right? But then in bracket, it was just a...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't do money matches, so he just did like a serious set, like best of 5. Well, before that, this is like after I decided to just go pretty much solo Sephiroth. Like, the point at which I decided to go solo Seph was I played like 5 money matches versus Lance. We did like 3 Roy Dittos. It's like 3-2, then he 3-0'd me twice. Like, well, fuck, let me try Sephiroth. And then I'm doing a lot better with the Sephiroth after that, and that was on Friday. So I basically decided to go Sephiroth the entire match. Obviously I got a lot of earnest experience already, so I was kind of like, oh man, I'm gonna try doing like back ends and like the usual spacing stuff. I know he's floaty, so I can kind of trap his landings like a lot better than like other fast fallers, Fox and Wolf and all that. We'll see if that works. I think like the main thing that like lost me games in the friendly set was he would like tech chase me a lot. So he do like down tilt and like charge F smash at like 70 and like kill me before I got league.
Fuck.
Then going into the actual set, I was like, okay, as long as I don't get like tech chased and like die super early, he can't really approach me super well. He wasn't really parrying or anything like that, and he's gonna get like juggled and like edge guarded super easily. And like I think if Lucina wants to edge guard Sephiroth, it's like a lot more technical than like vice versa, right? The other thing was he was already like very tilted, like even before the set even started, right? Like both the friendly set and the actual set. And if you're versing Sephiroth as Lucina when you're super tilted, like it's just it's like GG already, you know. So like the first game I think was pretty close. Second game, he's like visibly starting to get like frustrated. Like next to me, I can see him. The first stock, I try to just like do a normal recovery Octa Slash to ledge. He head dodges because he doesn't get hit by the Octa Slash at all, and he just dies at like 40%. Second stock, he gets hit by the Octa Slash into the stage, and a stage spikes him, and it kills him at 2%. And at that point, I think he's just like locked out of the tournament. Like he's already like he's not doing anything now. He's kind of like GG from there. Third game, same shit. Gets fucking walled out. Dies super early. Gets edge guarded. Last stock, he just like charges neutral B off stage. And kills himself intentionally and hits his control on the ground. I'm like, okay,
Fuck.
that's not great. That's like I think it's some IRL shit he was dealing with. So like can't really judge him too much for that. But like, it feels like I had like a lot of like luck going into the set. I think I had like a lot of bracket luck going into both Wanted and boss battles in general. And like,
Yeah.
he was even like having like a Leon win. Like, it didn't feel like he was playing his absolute best.
Yeah.
You know.
I think just generally,
super.
it sounds like people are way more like emotive, or like there's a lot more like passion, or like the crowds are louder as well. Even watching like boss battles and seeing like Luigi scream at the top of his lungs, running through city, like, and like
Escape from the City.
Yeah, Escape from the City, and it's just like, dude, do you think they just like care, like, more, or it's like the culture of like just being so invested is kind of more present compared to like, I would argue, more of a laid back nature of Australia.
Yeah, definitely in France. Yeah, I think definitely in France, like everyone is super hype. Like even when they went to America, apparently they had like the French dimension or some shit at Genesis, which is just like it was like a 4th stream setup. And every time like a French player played, they would like ask their opponent like, "Hey man, do you want to play in the French dimension?"
Yeah.
Also,
That happened Yeah, I noticed at Rise and Grind, which is a smaller major that happened, they had a French stream. Like, put like every single one of Rafflo's matches on there. Like,
Fuck. This
Yeah.
yeah, no, like,
So
they're passionate.
well, they had like a curtain there in the French dimension, so you would go play and stream, and as you're about to start, they would like unsheath the curtain, and you'd see like a group of like fucking 20, 30 French players scream at the top of their lungs some random French bullshit, and you're like freaking out. So like, they actually care like a lot more, and I think esports in general.
Yes.
Yeah, I think esports in general is like way more accepted in France. Like they're definitely one of the most welcoming countries of it, right? And like I think it's portrayed in like their sponsors and their obviously like, the general community. Like they just like care like a lot, which is really good to see.
Yeah, as we were driving from the airport to our Airbnb, we drove past an esports stadium. Like it was like within like 20 minutes of being in the car near the city. There was like a big stadium. It was almost like as big as a soccer stadium. I don't know if it was dedicated to esports, but it did say like esports stadium. So yeah, they're very big on it for sure.
That is so sick. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
Just assisting environmental factors, which is so cool. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like watching like top 8 of boss battles, was that like anything notable as well? I'm assuming you guys were spectators of the event, right?
Do you mean Wanted?
Do you mean Wanted?
Wanted, sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck.
We were just playing
like the stream setup. You know, like from the main stage area looked really cool.
Yeah.
It looked like a theater. It looked like a theater. Was it? Was it a...
It's like pretty much like a lecture theater sort of thing. It was super full by the time we got knocked out, so I think we both just like went and played friendlies.
Yeah.
We played the Netherlands players, Space and Semi, for a fair bit. I don't know what Ben was doing. Ben was already booked off somewhere. It was really funny. 'Cause I context. I hate playing Jono sometimes.
We know
This
this.
is fucking throwing shit against. Yes, we know this is obvious, right? But my favorite player to play against, maybe of all time, was Semi.
Really?
He's like,
That's
he's
so
actually like,
That's a fucking that's an insult.
it's crazy because I thought like, I just hate Younglink, but I think it's Younglink because like, Semi's like the smartest, most methodical player I've like ever played. So intentional, so like such a nicely genuine guy, all that kind of shit. Like he'd help you out.
Everything Jono
He'd, like
isn't,
be down.
right?
Yeah, literally.
Everything Jono is literally like they're the two most opposite players that I've ever played against, right? Yeah, he would like wait in place for like 2.5 seconds and like dash back fire arrow after that. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Jono would just have done 5 arrows in those 2.5 seconds already. It's crazy.
What can you do? Though?
What can you do? You can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think Jono's the better player, actually.
There you know. I'm not saying in terms of like how good each player is, but just like in terms of playing them.
Yeah.
Like it's probably like all like the good parts of Nick into like a player like really wants to like push internationally. That's not a diss. That's not a diss. That's like just saying like they're very similar, and like talking to Semi has like pretty similar mindsets on how you should play the game as Nick, and like how it's kind of played at top level where like you can play like really fast. I'm just probably going into like some of the meta stuff that we'll talk about.
No, just send it. Yeah.
But like, just send it. Yeah, like what we said about Orion and Flo and like everyone in France, they play like really fast, really good advantage state. They're like very clean and everything. I think Netherlands is more like on the methodical side of things, especially Semi, where he's like, especially at top level, you want to be playing like a lot slower. Like not necessarily like in close quarters ranges, you still have to be playing really fast. But like mid range, long range, playing slower and like just kind of waiting to see what your opponent is doing and like understanding how to adapt to that super quickly is like way more important. I think he kind of like exemplifies that. Like if you guys talk to Nick, you'll get the same sort of insight in that MK Leo or Spargo earlier on, where they'll kind of like chill out a little bit play at a range where they can't really get hit by anything meaningful, but they can still like dash back if they need to, or they see the opponent dash towards them and like or shield or like that kind of thing. And he says like that's like a way more consistent play style than like playing like just really go ham, super fast, get your like meaningful hits, and that's it. You win the game. It's like that'll work until like high level, but once you get high enough, the people like will already understand the matchups. Then it's like you don't give yourself enough time to think if you're playing super fast and like buffering too many things, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like really interesting.
So it's like that non-committal way of like allowing yourself to, how do I say, like, because a consistency point is like really important, especially playing in like top level, right? Like you mentioned, you can't just be buffering things, otherwise you can't like it's really like variable if you're just playing so fast that you can't actually analyze like why you're like losing for what you're losing to, right? Like it just sounds like they're playing in a non-committal way where they can actually just take each match at a time for what it is, right? And that seems to be really consistent than just like throwing your game plan at a wall and just like playing really fast and hoping for the best, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Or it's like if you're playing super fast, you're putting yourself you're making yourself play into patterns too much, right? Like it can happen with Young, it can happen with Roy, where like you'll do like a forward on shield and you'll buff like a jab or like a down tilt or some shit. Eventually, like the top players will understand it, like, oh, the counterplay to this is like a lot simpler than if they just like waited like a little bit and then like reacted to my option.
Yeah, because patterns are really easy to beat out, essentially.
Yeah, like a lot easier to beat up than like the same pattern but delayed between 1 and 60 frames, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And I guess that kind of comes back to the flow thing you mentioned earlier, how he's gonna like wait like just like a little bit, or like it's not even like mix up timings. It sounds more like the general like, what's the word for it, not flow, but like your rhythm, like when this Roy is coming in, there's like how late he can do the fair, but there's also like the rhythm the Roy is coming in at, and I guess that's a lot harder to latch onto if you're changing that rather than like the timing you do an aerial. It's more like when you decide to approach or do options, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's a lot about like tempo and like really mixing up your tempo. Like you'll see Kanaji as like a prime example of someone who's like really good in like a lot of areas of the game, but it's like always playing at like the same tempo, like the really fast tempo.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I think Kanaji kind of struggles to break into that like upper echelon of Australia at the moment, is because like he's like playing into those like patterns too much and like not like making his opponent respect like a different timing enough. Like he actually played near Tono. I talked to him as well. He played near Tono a little bit in Japan. He's over there now. Then near Tono gave him like pretty much the exact same advice. Like mix up your timings. As like a general rule for all Australians, like try to implement more mix-ups, because like he said like when he played a lot of Australians, like they didn't mix up enough.
This is crazy. This is just what Gact and Kep said to us as well. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's true. Like if everyone's saying it, then must be true, right? And that also applied like to Kanaji himself. So like tempos, mix-ups. There's some other stuff as well. I don't remember at the moment, but those are like the two main things.
Yeah, I mean, what the Japanese player said to us is like your confidence on ledge as well. Like I think a lot of Australians are just not confident in like playing like ledge, like disadvantage situations on ledge. Right. Like against like the top Japanese players just like could. I mean, we saw this when Nintendo came to Oz, right? We were just on ledge the whole game, the whole time.
Dude, Shielded now.
Yeah. That's too hard to beat, apparently.
Yeah, Shielded now.
Yeah.
Too good.
It's too good.
Yeah, I think some players are like that. I can see like DD maybe being like that,
Mhm.
like in terms of the players you want to play in Korea.
Yeah.
I think Jono's pretty good off ledge for what Leon Link is.
Yeah.
And like Nick and Ben as well are fine. Yeah.
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 I guess going back to like the playing slow thing, like Semi is also number one in Netherlands, I think, at the moment. And he kind of just beats everyone. He beats like Mr. Raw, he beats Ramses in a supposedly pretty bad matchup, and Space again in like a pretty bad matchup. Just because I feel like he has learned to play really slow and methodical, and he's kind of downloaded these players in a way where he can get consistent reads. Like getting reads is one thing, but getting consistent reads is like the really impressive thing when you're playing against players of like Mr. R's caliber, right, who have been like top 5 in the world at some point. I think that's like the end goal in Smash if you want to get like really, really good, like top.
Is to do things consistently.
Yeah.
And I guess
Do things consistently, yeah.
Yeah. And that's
like the way to do it.
Is what allows it. Okay.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys played people from like 3 different regions. Did you feel there was any like major like playstyle differences? Obviously, there's like the character meta was quite different. Like USA was a Falcon and a Puff, and Japan had like Olimar and fucking Kazuya. But like, did they feel any different, or did they all just feel like really good players? Or they're just aiming to play like the best Smash Bros. They can.
So we didn't really play. Or I didn't really play.
Well, you played Fatality.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I played Fatality. So I played like American players, Netherlands, and obviously a lot of French players.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like a lot of French players were like that. I didn't get to play Bluto, and I heard Raffle was pretty similar to Bluto.
Mm-hmm.
The American players they didn't play pretty fast. I think Base Match is probably like the most like he would wait at like mid range, just because he can. That's really tough because he's got that huge like air drift kind of mix ups to get in. This isn't really like a tempo thing, but like every like high to top level player I played is just so willing to like knowledge check you straight up. Like that's like versing T as like a big example of that. They'll just do whatever the fuck they want at the start. As long as it's like kind of low risk, like they won't die for missing it. They like go for it, right? Like I played Base Mage in 2. The first set hit me with like 2 up air arrests, and because I did like a down tilt in some weird way, and he'd do like the weird like the upbeat on ledge thing.
Yeah.
The sync stall, and I was like, oh, I'll down tilt this, and down tilt did not hit. Spoilers. I died at 50. Spoilers. And then like I avoided that like the second set, and that was like a lot easier, right? Same thing with like Fatality, where you just like die super early if you're not like specifically looking out for their kill options at like early-ish percents, right? I think that's like the biggest thing that separates. One of the big things that separates like top level is that they can really understand how to like not get cheesed super easily. Like they make it hard to like land cheese, right?
They'll like do the really safe, like level 1 defensive option that like unless if you hard call it out, like they'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
But then conversely, they'll go for like the high reward cheese for themselves, which as soon as it doesn't work, I imagine they like just switch off straight away. It's like, oh, this person knows the knowledge check or not. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
No, I mean that was like one thing I started doing after that. After I realized they were doing that, it's like no one knows how to deal with fucking Sephiroth ledge trapping. I'm just gonna do my ledge stalling bullshit, and
hey man,
it worked out.
Does anyone know how to deal with it?
No one knew how to deal with it. No one. I mean, the hardest person I fought was Siskly.
Yeah.
That's because he's like Samus. Like, what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Damn, can't believe the
I
only
sucked
reason
in
you
the
lost the tournament was because you ran into a Samus.
Yeah. Can't get off the ledge, mate. It's undoable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I noticed too many, apart from like Netherlands. I didn't notice like too many like specific playstyle differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you didn't get much experience with the
America's
Japanese players, right? Like.
Just Asimo. Asimo
Yeah.
definitely played like a lot slower. I
Yeah.
think as the set went on, he started to like try to approach like a bit more. Just because he was getting walled out heaps by like backers and shit, so he started to look a little more antsy. But I think his general game plan is more geared towards like zoning with fireball and then trying to see how you react to that.
Yeah.
But if your reaction is Sephiroth back air, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Mhm.
As for you, Jono, I heard this like kind of phrase generally repeated before, but there's this sentiment of like, I just need to learn the matchup first, and then I can play the player. Like, I feel like a lot of trouble you ran into was like matchups and stuff like that. Like, how do you feel about like traveling to another region and just being gapped and checked like that? I guess.
Well, that was like something like Ramses and I touched on. Is that like my play style is kind of faulty when I travel because he says I like it was comparing me to Super Semi. He says that I like force a lot of mix ups onto the opponent, and I really try um force my game plan and mix ups onto the opponent, which is a very high roller play style. I've really got to hope that some of these people don't know how to deal with the mix ups I'm forcing onto them, and like especially for matchups I don't know, I will kind of just force my standard mix ups, which may or may not work. But mostly it hasn't been working for me in matchups I don't know. For example, like Samus in America, I was like, really trying to force certain things onto her, but then like charge shot like just beats what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And I can kind of touch on this a little bit more when we talk about the meta because Sriks and I had quite a few chats like in the car about like the meta, like how to play, like why they play slower at top level sort of thing. Because like I'm falling into the trap right now of playing too fast and pressing too many buttons, and that's like affecting me badly because eventually people are finding a gap in my play. Whereas like Ramses was saying, Super Semi, like what Trick was saying, plays a lot slower, methodical. He plays to pressure the opponent and bait the opponent through movement. And so he's telling me that like, I need to incorporate some of that into my game plan, like empty hop more. Try bait something out of the opponent by moving because you'll find that a lot more consistent traveling than trying to force projectile, habits
Yeah.
and all this onto the opponent. Like my game plan and my mix-ups work when I know the matchup, which is why I do really well in Australia, or why I do really well in matchups I know, such as like Falcon and Fatality, because I used to grind with Zetman like non-stop. And I look at the characters like I've lost to, and they're all characters. We don't have Banjo, fucking Samus, Shulk, Pyramithra sort of thing. So I think what Ramses is saying is you don't just play the character, you also kind of play the player. Because if I was playing slower and trying to gather more information on the opponent, I can use that to be more consistent. By baiting options out, I can see what the opponent's reacting to. Whereas because I'm playing so fast and forcing so many mix-ups, I can't particularly gather too much information on the opponent. And that's like essential when you're going out internationally because you need to know, you've only got 3 games, 2 games in the best of 3 maybe to gather
Yeah.
enough information on the opponent to like get the job done. So I think that's something where my play style right now is forcing me to know the matchups, which is why I'm getting caught out not knowing these matchups, especially at top level. Which is something I'm struggling with and why I'm saying I need to know the matchups. But I think there is a way I can shift my play style to do both, and more so the player to end up being more consistent internationally. Because even though I felt like I got super unlucky in this trip, just like in general with like my general health and actual bracket luck, I feel like there's still more things I can be doing to be more consistent rather than just knowing every matchup at like a tip top level. Because like right now, I would feel like more confident against Glutiny than I would against Ramses. Or like going into Wanted, I'd feel more confident against Glutiny than against Ramses because
That's so
I
that's
know.
such a hard ask in this game as well. Like there's just like you can't know every single matchup at like a high level.
But like
It's
these top, when you
impossible.
go, I just noticed this just happened when we went to Korea as well. It's like international players, just in Australia. I feel like there's so many like broken characters that you just need to know what they do. Otherwise, you will just get losing out charactered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you play.
No, it's not even like top tiers, right? It's just like the Incineroar. Like,
Well,
it's like,
that can happen as well.
I don't know
That
what's
can happen as
going
well.
on.
Well, yeah, but that can happen. Knowledge checks will happen as well. But like in general, you better fucking know your Pyramithra matchup, or you're gonna get fucked. You know, like
Well,
chances are you
my
need to know your Jokers, your Brobs,
my overarching question.
Samus seems to be
your
the main one as well.
Palucaners. Yeah,
My-
Samus. Well, yeah.
My
exactly.
overarching question is like, for matchups that you like don't have experience in, like how do you actually prepare for them before you travel? Like that feels impossible unless you do travel in the first place.
It's like VOD review, man. Like, it's like
Well, yeah. You're studying up on the character and VOD review, but like I'm not someone who's generally excelled at that. Like maybe like Sriks, for example, can watch someone and gather a feel for their playstyle, maybe habits. He can gather a feel a bit more than what I can. I'm always someone who's very much played by feel and fast reactions and sort of that thing. Like I just naturally get in the range I need to by playing it.
Yeah.
Which works for me in Australia, but it's not so much working for me in like out of country because I don't know the exact ranges I need to play it. Like against Shoal, for example, I got fucked because I didn't know the range I had to play it. It was like Super Semi knows that perfect range, and so you study up on the character, what their like big strengths are, and what you want to avoid. Like right now, if I was like telling someone who's going to play Incineroar, because obviously we lack way too many high and top level reps in Oz, that like it fucks us overseas. Because I think right now we only have like 4 to 5 characters we know at top level out of like 80 something in the game, which is like impossible, right? But like if I was telling someone to play like Incineroar, I would tell them, watch out for like Revenge at a disadvantage and like how to beat Revenge. Like I didn't know before I didn't know when I got counterpicked by Incineroar at that French regional that like if you grab Incineroar he loses Revenge. I didn't know that.
Really?
So,
Really?
Come on, man.
Come on, dude.
and like I didn't know like Min loses Dragon Fang or that fucking breath thing.
Yeah, the one she got.
I didn't know she got that when she grabbed you, and I didn't know she lost it. I didn't know she lost it when
Wait.
you grabbed it.
Did you know if you
I didn't know that. Hold on.
Incineroar, he loses it?
No, I didn't know the conditions he lost it. Like I didn't know the exact conditions. I wasn't sure it was like a time thing or a damage thing, but I realized after 30 seconds he loses it, or if
No,
you
it's
deal
30
with
damage.
it,
It's damage.
Yeah, 30%.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
both. It's time as well.
Yeah, it's time as well. Yeah.
Actually, okay, I didn't know that. But the thing is, the Zero always hits me before the fucking thing explodes. Like,
Yeah, and so like, that shit is like vital to know, but like, not really knowing that shit because when have I ever had to fight an Incineroar at like even a remotely high level in Australia? Like fucking never.
Next tournament, you go to, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's yeah, you really gotta like study up, but you can't fully prepare for what you like. I knew what Incineroar does, and I played Skyjay, and he's like Revenge in double at like every single fucking thing. I was like, holy shit. Yeah, it's a different world.
Well, we are running a little tight on time here. So I will ask like any final comments on meta, and then we'll wrap up with like a quick summary of boss battles.
I guess, yeah. I guess to add like a couple of points to what John was saying before about like playing fast and slow. One of the things Sammy mentioned about like Youngling specifically and like Skittles, thinking fast and slow.
Yeah.
About Skittles, who I think is like pretty similar to Jono in some ways, is that like Skittles is like kind of capped the way he's playing. Like he's really good, like he can play really fast and he can do everything he needs to do, but you can't go like much higher, like playing like that, right? Because for the same reasons we talked about before, where you can only do actions in like certain intervals if you're playing like that.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I discussed this with Jono, but like going into matches, like I think the way Jono plays is really good. Into matchups he knows super well, like obviously. But I think like the thing that Ramsey's and Sammy discussed with him, and then like a lot of us can kind of take into our own games, is like if we don't know a matchup, like I think playing slow is definitely like, the way to go. Like,
Okay.
Great.
I think in a matchups you don't know, I think like starting off slow, is probably a little bit better, unless you really want to for some reason like try to overwhelm them and see if that works. But again, it's like less consistent.
Yeah, I just always
like
thought you'd
trying
like
to
want to
actually
assert dominance. Like if I don't know what
Oh,
they're
it's
doing,
kind of like
hopefully
what if like they don't know what you're doing? Like,
Wait,
what if
it's like
the same way?
hopefully my offense is better than your offense, and like I don't need
Yeah,
to like even if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you harder or something like that. Like it's
That's
not
what-
it's not a
that's
consistent
like-
way to win, right?
Against players
Yeah.
you're better than, like in
Yeah.
Oz, you can easily get away with just like overwhelming the opponent. Like if you don't know it, like that's literally what I do to like everyone here, and it just like works like a charm. But
Yeah.
like when you get to like top or like high level traveling the world where the players are actually like really good and they do have experience, they'll pick up on like you trying to overwhelm them pretty quickly,
Mhm.
and then like that's when you need to cut. They're gathering information on you, but you're not really gathering as much information on them because you're doing too fast. Which is why what Sriks and like Ramses were saying is you play slow because then they can't really pick up much on you, but then you're picking up on them. But yeah, anyway,
Okay.
continue Sriks.
Yeah. That's pretty much like the end of what I was going to say about that. And then like when I was talking to Orion about what he thought about EU and the kind of the scope of the world, he was like, "Yeah, I think we can do really well, but the thing that really screws us over is mashups." Like, haha, that's like exactly what we say about like our top level. We just need more match experience. But like obviously, there's more to it than just like I said before, they're playing really fast, so it makes sense that they kind of view the game through the lens of like, okay, I need to understand like everything beforehand, and then I can kind of play in a way where I don't have to like I can kind of be more on autopilot. Because like when you're nervous and you're stressed out, like you want to be playing, you want your autopilot to be really good, so you don't have to like worry about like, oh, if I mess up, then I'm screwed. Game 5 situation versus Spargo, whatever.
Yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense actually. Like just if they like the Cream players, like they slowed the fuck down versus Bradley, who like they don't have war experience, right? And they slowed the fuck down like when they're playing, and eventually they got adapted on. Like
Yeah, right. Like I think Bradley's someone who plays really fast as well, so that makes sense.
I think it's an ideal to always try and attain back to some form of like autopilot when you're like in the mid match, because I feel like when you're trying to think consciously, it's really hard. Like it feels like it gets so much affected by like outside things like ego or mentality during a set, like nerves, and that's not, like you mentioned before, that's not something that's going to be consistent, where that the change in autopilot is going to be consistent. And I feel like that's kind of what they're hinting at about top level at the end of the day with people like MK Leo. It's like, how is this guy able to like do these things consistently? And I guess it just starts by like playing it slow. So
Well, when I played MK Leo, he was like 10 times slower than when I played Orion. From the get go, Orion and I were fucking going at it first time. Bam, bam, like full like just beating the shit out of each other. And then like MK Leo was like a pretty like slow match. He was like keeping his distance. He was probably using that distance to play slow and gather information on me. And then when it literally got to close range, he was like kind of fucking me up on disadvantage, like ledge and whatnot, because he kind of picked up enough.
yeah.
And so it's just funny, like, talking to Shrix about like fast and slow play at like top level, about like MK Leo was playing slower than like nearly like most players that played a year, for example. But like he also knows what he's doing, and so he's using that to get information. Yeah.
I didn't feel when I played the Japanese players, they played like I wasn't like, oh my god, they're just overwhelmingly fast. They're just really calculated and picked up, like they'll save the jump read and kill me, and like their ledge trapping's just more solid. But they weren't actually like pressing buttons in my face, really.
I felt like Zachary did press a lot of buttons and he was aggressive. Like he was very aggressive. Out of all the Japanese players I've played, for sure. Yeah.
Sick.
I think you have to play fast in close quarters combat. Like there's no way you're getting around that.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more like how do they play at mid range?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's that teetering between the unreactable and reactable range, and trying to be non-committal but gain information with it as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's what I mean. Like the mid range, like baiting out information, like using your movement to bait options out of the opponent, and then gather information based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what they're scared of, but
yeah.
Boss battles. This was the big one for good old Shrikar here. Doing the run, probably the best performance Australia's ever seen, if I'm not mistaken, other than Jack Gorman winning Evo. Is that right? Yeah.
Never forget.
Never
Yeah,
forget.
Jack on yeah.
Clam, cow, yeah, whatever.
Like we bought the sunfish or something.
Yeah, watch me bob the sunfish. Yeah, that was it. So it was Lugi, there was a Taraquin, Maze Beans, Chag, and then losing to Siskui and Skyj. Jono, you also lost to Solid Gamer, right?
Yeah.
Who is Solid Gamer?
Solid Gamer, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Solid gamer.
Was he alright? I don't know. Like, we may not have time to go through all the individual sets, but any, like...
Just quickly, what happened with boss battles going from 2 day to 1 day and, like, the refunds, like, fucking shenanigans? Did you guys end up getting any compensation?
No, so there was just not enough entrants. They needed at least 400 entrants to cover the venue for 2 days. They only got, like, 170, 80 in the end, so people were, like, demanding refunds and stuff.
Yeah.
So he already went out of pocket by a few grand. He still ran the event anyway. But yeah, he basically just didn't have enough entrants to cover the cost.
Was the venue good though? Like,
the venue was mad.
Yeah,
it was like it was super like it felt like it was dead because it was meant for like a lot of people. And it only had like 170.
I just saw the stream setup. Like, dude, this crowd is so dead. Where's everyone? But like, I don't know if whether the actual setups might have been like really cool.
Well, the actual setups was all really cool, but yeah, it was super dead because not only was it like 160 or 70 signed up, there was also like 30-ish or maybe more DQs on the day because people were like, oh, not worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the venue was cool, but it was dead.
Yeah. I did want to ask specifically real quick, what was going through your mind on Game 5 Chag, Sriks? Dude.
Game 5 Chag.
Yeah, or that whole like getting reverse 3-0'd but then clutching it out, like, that's insane.
This is gonna sound really stupid and super weenie. I literally told myself clutch up, and that somehow fucking worked. I was like, okay, I'm playing Sephiroth. Doesn't matter if I lose the first stock, because I think every game I won, I lost the first stock against Chag.
Oh, what a fucking...
I feel like a fucking loser saying clutch up, but whatever works, you know. And like the last stock. This is why like analyzing that best of 3 was really important, because like, oh, he's gonna go for like a lot of explosive flames because I died to explosive flame in the money match. Like you see, like I'm in the I think I died to it once.
Yeah, I remember. I got so mad.
Yeah. That reminded me, like, okay, you have to avoid explosive flame at like 110 because he'll like kill you with some weird shit. And I ended up avoiding like an air dodge one of them. I moved around the other one. Yeah. And like I avoided like 2, and so I'm like, okay, he's gonna go for like something else. Like I'm just gonna go for an up B or like a jump or some shit. So I went for like the up air, hoping that like he wouldn't do the explosive flame, and it just kind of worked out last game.
No, that up air is good because it covered both the long and the short walk because the sword's so long that like you basically place it in the perfect place, and any hit of the sword is gonna kill him at that percent anyway. So
I think I need the sweet spot to kill him. I don't think the I need the sweet spot to kill him. Yeah. Yeah. I knew he was good at reverse 3-0s, but
he reversed 3-0 twice at Wanted, I know.
Yeah.
Tarek and Space,
And he's reversed. I think he reversed 3-0 at the next big tournament he went to, like Tea Party or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Tea Party is.
Oh no, the Talia one we reversed 3-0 Space again.
Damn.
Yeah, it was 3-0 Space. That's right. So like, I'm pretty happy that I was able to like beat someone who's known for like reverse 3-0 people.
I mean, I don't know if we just want to skip to this set, but it's like. I watched this set, like, this was at 4 a.m. I was like, I took 2 naps in the day already because I was so sad at my performance in Korea. So I stayed up. But, like, it felt like, well, game 1 and 2 was just complete dominance, it felt like. Didn't feel like there was any hope of Chag winning. But then from game 3 onwards, I don't know, it looked like a different player. He turned into MK Leo pretty much from games 3 to 5. Do you, like, what changed? Like, I feel like his ledge trapping got a lot better, but like I don't know, it felt like he picked up on your rhythm or something.
Yeah, so I felt like the biggest things he had changed between like going into game 4 especially was like, I was trying to play pretty fast.
Yep.
I think he picked up on like when he was like allowed to run in and like nair.
Yep.
As like a kind of a zone breaker to me, because like if I'm trying to react to his like speed and he's too close, then I can't really get like a back air out for the nair. And the other thing especially he was doing was like dashing. He was really good at like dashing back past the range where I was comfortable trying to cover. I think game 4 he like got I did like a lot of dash attacks and like dash grabs. Like as he was dashing back, he dashed back like even further than he was in like game 1 and 2, and I think that was the double. And I think that was like the biggest thing. Was like, man, who corners themselves that much? Jag does, and it like works because like he gets the punish off of it afterwards.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the main thing. And obviously he got a few kills at ledge.
Yeah.
He didn't kill me with up air at all. Which, like, I thought he might have gone for a few up airs when I was up there, but like he didn't get a single. I don't think he got a single up air kill. There was just kind of like the down tilts. He got like a down tilt back air, like a true combo, like 110.
Actually, the
on the
most
out.
broken move in the game, bro. Palutator should not have down tilt. It's so stupid.
It doesn't.
It doesn't hit. Yeah, it doesn't even hit separate when he does ledge hang. So like it shouldn't. I don't even know how he hit it. I think I did like a ledge drop.
I remember seeing that. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My jibs are being broken right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously losing to the goats as well. SkyJ is in a row broken. S2E probably would have been a wake up call as well, I imagine, having that level of Samus.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of thinking about the sets I'd lost just throughout the trip, and I feel like the main like joining factor in a lot of it was people who could really call me out in disadvantage.
Yeah.
Like the main people who were able to like beat me, like because originally I was like, man, I really suck versus zoners and also brawlers that kill me, like Kazuya, Instant Raw, or like Samus, but like S2E was like really good at like abusing charge shot as like a threat rather than just like using it.
Yeah.
And like calling out my jumps heaps. Like I jumped like a lot, and he just kind of like forward aired me, nared me, back aired me for it. I got like heaps of kills that way.
Mind reader.
Mind reader. Yeah, I'd heard he was kind of like I heard from other EU players, he was like super flow charty. Which like I think Samus is so strong in that regard that like you just have to like make a few adjustments here and there, and they will count as 4 big reads, you know. He gave me some advice afterwards, like play more. The top players who beat Samus's play more grounded to like bait out the anti-airs from Samus, which are like not super high lag, but like they're pretty like long animations.
Yeah.
The port airs,
Yeah. So it's kind of just staying out there for a while. She's floaty and all that.
Yeah. And Jono, how did you feel about the losses between Solid Gamer and Fatality?
Well, I wasn't really going into the tournament with hopes or anything. I was pretty sick throughout the week.
Yeah.
Since Monday night or Tuesday, I woke up and I had pretty bad cold, but it knocked me out throughout the week, and I didn't get to play Smash for like a few days, 2 days, which is like
That's
absurd for me. I usually can't go like a single day without playing. If I like miss a day, then like I just won't go to a tournament that week. But I was in another country, so I had to suck it up. But I just didn't set myself with like much expectations. I was just too tired throughout the day. I wasn't sleeping well throughout the week, and like just nothing that all like my pre-tournament requisites, which is
the banana.
Yeah, I couldn't. Oh, we didn't have a sumac near us. So I didn't have a banana or anything either. So I was truly fucked. No tiny teddies. So it was all doom and gloom.
Tiny teddies.
None of the Aussie snacks. None of the Aussie snacks. So it was doom and gloom. But I just kind of went into it. I was like, well, there's no point like sooking kind of before the tournament start. Like I don't want to write myself off. So I just tried to give it a red hot crack. And then I fell short to Solid Gamer, Bear Joe Kazooie. I was down 2-0, 0-2. I think I was a bit too cocky going into that match. I thought like I'd be fine because I hadn't heard the name at all, and like all UK players that played up until that point were like pretty average. So I was like kind of just trying to do the flow chart, and then all of a sudden I'm down 0-2, and I'm like, oh shit. So I put in the headphones, and like I started to make the comeback. I got to game 5, and then I got reverse 3-stock game 5 because I had an identity crisis. Game 5 because I was like doing my kind of flow chart, and then like I got up 3 stocks to 1, and then he took a stock and was kind of outplaying me a bit for like the second stock, and I was like, oh shit, I should probably start doing what Rand just told me, and so I like started playing like really slow and trying to like react to like Banjo shooting fucking eggs and poo out of him, and I just couldn't do it. And so I ended up losing the second stock, like only taking like 60%, and then like I tried to like force a bunch of my stuff on him, and I just like dropped like all my confirms, and then I did a down air and got F smashed at 60 and died mid stage on Holly Bastion because he had max rage. And it was just it was a pretty grim loss because I dropped all my composure in that game 5 because I just kind of wanted to get over and done with, and I just ran into Banjo and just didn't do the patience I needed to. And then like literally right after I lost, like there was a huge UK crowd and they were absolutely going ballistic, and then like they all popped off on him. And then like 3 minutes after that match, I had to go play Fatality, right after it. And like I was like winning game 1. I like hit him with like an up air at like 140, and he got the kill screen and he lived it. And then he like nared me at 50 off stage, and like he 2-frame down aired me like through the stage. And so I lost that game, and then after that I'm like, I'm done. Like fuck this shit. I'm had enough with today. Like I'm already like demoralized because like I've just been feeling like shit. And then, like the next 2 games, like a bit of a wash. It read me pretty comfortably, and I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. Like I just was not in the condition or like mindset to play, and I didn't like want to pre-John or anything because I wanted to at least give myself the best shot for the tournament. But like it was just depressing.
My tournament run ended the exact same way, getting 2 framed by the down at 40 when they're 140 and I got a kill screen. Like
it takes it out of you because like I have to be really on point in the zone, and once I am in that point, like in that zone, then like I just fuck well.
Actually, can I ask about the local? Is it that Darkstalker guy? How like you said this guy was like?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, what is this guy?
He's fucking absurd. I've never met anyone like him in my life. So it's like Monday night, and I'm like starting to feel run down because like the sickness is like just starting to creep in, and like I played Fatality, and like I'd like throughout the night before I like food poisoning and shit, and I was just like, because we went to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and it didn't work out for me. So I had like food poisoning, and I was like, fuck, I may as well go to this tournament. Anyway, so I've lost the Fatality, and I'm like, oh fuck, I think I'm like done for the day. I'm pretty tired. And then like Darkstalker wins this loses semis, and he's like jumping out of the chair, like, oh, he's going around everyone. I can do this, like fist bumping, like he's up and about, and I'm just like, man, this is too much. And he's like pumping himself up. He's like, oh, and like he sits down. He's like, oh, hey man, how's it going? Are you looking forward to this match? Anyway, I'm doing stuff there too. I'm playing Terry. You playing Melanie? Cool man. And I'm like, oh, yeah man, PSP's fine, bro. Let's do this. And then like he's like, all right, good luck, have fun, man. Let's do this. Good luck.
Dude, it's
like,
Higgins.
And then like game 1, he's like, crack shoot, and I'm like, oh my god. It's like literally like the first stop was him like crack shoot, and I'm like dash back fire arrow nair. And he's like, oh my god, alright, crack shoot, and then like he fucking does another, and I do another fire arrow dash attack. He's like, oh, whatever. And he's like again, it's like crack shoot.
Holy fuck, dude! The Matrix.
I'm working it out.
You destroyed your
These UK players.
No, that's basically what it's like. And then like he just like actually like his playstyle reflects how he is IRL.
Oh, so he's crack shooting IRL.
He literally is. And then
conversation.
And then he's like jumping in. He's just actually using crack shoot as a movement option. Like you think that's a meme, but he actually like moves with crack shoot. He like crack shoots, and then like dude, he'll do like always do like his power dunk, but like the perfect like auto cancel window, and then he's like
the
he's
G's,
like
mate.
he's like wiggling his ass on the controller, like it's actually like fuck what he's doing. And then like, but like, it takes a lot of composure to beat him, and like when you like are composed, you like fuck him up, and it's like no problems. But like I won the first, I won like the first 2 games, and I'm like, sweet. And then like game 3, I've just got hit by like Terry shit, and I'm like, holy shit, like I've actually got to wake up. And so like I lost game 3, and then I was like, all right, game 4, let's fuck this cunt. And then, like I like borderline 3-stocked him because I was like, okay, this is what you got to do. Like you got to stick to like your game plan and like not let go, because otherwise he just like runs away with it. Because like he's like actually as cracked as what he was. And,
it's like versing Yato online.
No, it's like playing. No, you know what it's actually like. It's like Matt Bap almost. It sounds like.
No, Darkstalker's different. Way different.
Darkstalker is different.
The way he like talks and stares at you, it's like unlike anything else. Yeah. It's like I play him and he's like still like cheering up. So I was like, all right, let's go back to PS2, bro. I'm like, all right, man, let's do this. And then he's like, oh, good games, bro. And then the tweet, he called me an American, and he doesn't know how to do. He called me Jay Drizzle. He called me no. That's not a joke. That's fully on brand for him. Okay. So he goes to call me Jay Drizzle. I was like, all right, fucking hell.
Jay Drizzle's fucking good, dude.
And then he's calling me American. He's like talking about advantage days, and then he's talking about Australia with stars on the flag and shit. But like, it's actually all on brand for him, and then like not one part of him's a meme. He's like actually like more cooked than like anyone else. The most comparable guy's probably Piggins, but like it's still like unlike anything else you ever experienced in your life. His playstyle and him as a person. I like hate to be going to locals and like losing to him like week in, week out. Like getting double eliminated by him. I'd be like latest. Like my ego.
You'd be done.
I'd be like, no, I'm out.
You hang up the sticks, mate.
That's all they'll drink at their locals.
Oh, dude.
The Kool-Aid.
And their local is that like a pixel bar. Like their locals are actually like the pixel bar equivalent, like a gaming bar. And they're a cunts doing like 5 rounds of shots on a Monday night, like back to back. Like every cunt had a pint in him, and like some like dude I was talking to had like 3 pints, even though he had work that day, and he has work at 8 a.m. the next morning. But he stayed until like 11, like smashing out babies with like the fellas. And like they have like a token. You remember how Pixel used to do like a token, like you got like $5 or something?
Yeah.
Like they all do that, and it's gone in like 15 minutes. That like everyone's already got like a pint on like their hands. It's like actually like absurd how much like the meme of like British people drinking that much is like fully true. Like those
Brits go hard.
Yeah, fucked. Yeah, they go hard. They all love a cheeky baby.
Yeah, I was also gonna ask about. Look, we're talking about Darkstalker. Dude, Loogie, mate. What's going on?
How was this guy like outside of the match? Did you talk to him? Any of you talk to this guy?
Very briefly.
No.
Okay.
No, I think he was the same. He wasn't singing "Escape from the City" at max volume outside of the match. But apparently he does. That's also like his thing. Like he will do that shit like right next to you, like when you're playing side by side. Like I was lucky. We're on the opposite sides of the stage. But other people, he's doing that shit right in your ear.
Holy
while you're
fuck,
playing
bro.
Ninja versus Luigi. Like you're definitely running around at the speed
of sound.
I would like shut the fuck up to him like during the match. I don't know, man.
Yeah, dude, how's this guy like? No, yeah.
Well, dude, it's so funny because you messaged one of the Discords and you were like, "Oh, dude, I SD'd because he started singing "Escape from the City," and I was like, "Oh, that's really funny." Like, haha, lol. Like, and then you watch the VOD back, and he literally starts belting "Escape from the City."
Yeah,
and you actually just fall off the stage and die. There's zero open.
And then to run to top it all off of the one game win.
Dude, what are you? Okay, what are you actually? Are you sitting there like,
dude?
How can you even react to this, dude?
I did. I had like a sly reaction, like, "Oh, I've heard about this. It's okay. He's 14. It's fine."
He's 14.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I thought he was 14. He's 16 though. But I didn't know at the time. I was like, "All right, this sucks. I'm gonna play like such a bitch the next game."
Dude, I would. Yeah, my mentality would be like, I cannot lose game 4. Like,
yeah, I can't lose game 4. That's what I was thinking.
He has to top the game 3 pop off with something.
Yeah.
So what's he gonna do?
If he won the whole set, I don't know what. I bet it doesn't exist anymore, man. It pays for itself.
Yeah. We're gonna.
But
Yeah.
he was a
Sorry.
nice guy, though.
Yeah. Look, the intention.
Just to say, he was like, he's just like a hyper guy, but it's like he was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So we'll give him that.
We're gonna wrap up here. Last two things I wanted to ask about was PG stats tricks, huh? We're in the big leagues now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to the Europeans for crying on Twitter that an Australian Sam got a video on PG stats. So, good work, fellas.
Yeah, thanks for the European. It's the EU Oz alliance coming through.
We're together as one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cute.
I didn't think PG Stats would ever make a video about Australia. Anything, I thought it'd be about Jono at some point, but
Yeah.
Jono just had atrocious bracket luck the whole group, pretty much. And Ben went to his girlfriend's place.
True. Base. Who's the real winner, boys? All right.
Well,
Big
he
got
left
his
his fucking
assignments
classes in
Hey,
Paris
you
for
could
2
learn
weeks.
you could learn a thing or two from that one, Connor. Oh no.
You're finished.
Yeah.
And as for, now we're back in Australia. Like, any plans? Any, like...
Yeah, what's the outlook looking like?
What's the go for the next...
We heard inklings of Jono. What's Jono doing?
So from this point onwards, it's looking like a trip to America, November, potentially Spain beforehand. Going from Spain to America because it's cheaper to go to Europe to America than here to America.
Wait, because you're 100% qualified for Smash World Tour. Are you coming back to Australia beforehand, or are you going to stay in America for like 2 months?
I'd stay in America for like a month. So what the plan is I would leave like mid-November, go to like 4 majors, at least 3, but 4 maximum because there's
like Apex or something like.
Nah, so I would either go to Apex or the Spanish major that's on at the same weekend. I'm choosing between one of those two. If I don't go to either, then I'll be going to Blackout New York, which is the following weekend. Then Main Stage is the week after that, and then Smash World Tour. Yeah, and then Smash World Tour is after that. And then I'll come home after that because I want to be home for Christmas this year. And then I'll head to Japan start of January because they've got the Umebara Japan major on the 7th of January. And then I'll just stay in Japan for a few weeks or a month after that. And then come home and call it. Yeah, I think this will probably be my final hurrah because it's kind of too much money and too much time investment to keep doing this, and I think it's time to
win all of them. Then you can
Yeah.
And then you can be like one of those guys who works 9 to 5 and beats those kids on the weekly. So.
But I don't think I could do that. I'm at the point where I can't handle anything but being first and like winning everything. I'm too far in.
Yeah.
That like if I'm now losing to let's say the up and comers such as Connor and Ernst and Newt, then I am gonna put that controller cord around my neck. I just can't I just can't be at that point where I'm losing now. I'm sad to say, unfortunately, maybe, but yeah, I'm a real warrior.
On top. All right.
And what about you, Shrikar? What's your plans now that you're back home? Is the milk run job still there, mate?
So I haven't messaged him, man. I think everyone quit like the weekend that I left for Europe.
Really? Fuck.
There's a whole story. I'll tell you afterwards.
It sounds like they need some workers, mate.
No, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Legit. You can have my job, mate. You can take it. It's
I'm
all
chilling.
yours. Okay.
Either of you on the
Actually,
triangle?
The what?
The what?
Oh, yeah.
The triangle, mate.
So I had to process that for a few seconds. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
on
it's
the
the
channel.
big, this is what
big
happened
cheese,
while
yeah,
you guys
the
were
big
gone.
triangle. The
What
big
are you
triangle.
talking about?
Big cheese. Let's talk about big cheese.
The big cheese angle.
Yeah, true, actually. Because I was invited to the Ludwig Invitational, but I will probably pass on that just because it's over $2,000 to fly for that one weekend. And then you like look at the people I'd have to beat to qualify. So if I qualified, I'd get reimbursed for like literally everything. But like you look at like the 64 players that's like in it, and like the 40 of
Good
them are
players,
like
yeah.
the 40 of them are like the next top 40 in the world after like the top 24.
Yeah.
And so I'd be playing like way too much, like a huge gamble, and then I'd basically be just like throwing myself out for big cheese, because I'd be like jet lagged throughout the week and whatnot. So I think I'll just probably focus on big cheese instead.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you're going as well, Shrika.
Of course.
Of course. All right.
See you at
Smash
the big
and
jungle.
Going to
Free.
Smash World 2 as well.
Yeah.
Probably
Is
as
that
well.
is that on the radar for
Yeah.
us? Yeah.
We're going
I
to
think-
Newt.
Yeah.
Currently, we have.
So what I said, like,
Yeah.
it's basically you have to basically get over 1,000 points, and you've pretty much qualified. And Trixis has like almost 1,200.
Wow.
There's still a few gold and platinum events
Maybe.
left. But, like I was looking
in
yeah.
America,
at
but the thing is, like, people like MK Leo's just going to win them all, and like the people can't get the points.
I don't think so.
Nah.
There's a few that can.
Yeah, I was like looking at it.
You have to get like top 4 to get any points, to be honest. Because if you get 5th place to gold event,
Yeah.
that is only 70 points. So like people who are like 300 points behind, they almost have no shot unless they win, and that's only one person. So like.
But the thing is like, for example, yeah, what's that duck hunt? Chili, Psycho, or whatever. There's like another gold.
Sakai Dogo, yeah.
Yeah, there's another gold event in his region.
Oh, true.
And he's got like 1,000 points. So if he wins that, he's like above Strix and DD now.
Yeah,
And so
Oh, so it's like it's top 29 that get in. Actually, it's not top 23 on the thing. It's top 29, and like he was gonna get an automatic invite anyway, because top 1 from each region gets an automatic invite regardless of where they're standing.
actually.
That's why you're gonna get an invite no matter what, because you're like top of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if we're completely certain yet, because there's still a few events left to go, but hopefully,
Yeah.
really soon. Yeah.
But yeah. Any shout outs before we finish up here after this whole 3 weeks of Europe?
Shouts to
out.
Weo for housing us.
Yeah.
And Khan and Tarek for being the homies.
Yeah.
Everyone else we met.
Shout out to Super Semi and Rangers. Super Semi is like the nicest guy on the planet, and Strix is devastated now. He's come back to Australia with me.
I'm
and lots of
so
his
devastated.
He
Now
won't
that I
have
know
to-
what I can't have, it's so much worse. Because
So
I
now
know that
he can
do
go
like,
back
oh,
torturous pixel night for Strix now. Well, I guess
Yeah.
well.
yep. Every week.
Yeah, shout out to Semi for Strix, showing him, giving him a false hope. And yeah, Rangers for plenty of advice, but apart from that, like, yeah, the other fellas, Lance, and then Shrix and Tarek. Shrix, fucking Khan and Tarek and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look,
Shouts to Lance.
And shout out to Tom, Strix's mate. He stayed with us in France. He was a good cunt. So I'll give it a nice shout out.
Yeah.
Tom was a good cunt.
He was a good cunt. He was Strix's mate from school. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in UK now. Love him.
not to preempt any
Yeah, that's
future potty episodes or anything like that, but there
Tom
is
on the potty.
there's some
Oh,
there's
yeah.
some talks about a potential international guest. So
Oh,
Oh,
interesting. Who could it be?
who could it be, guys?
don't
Who could
know.
it be? I guess we'll never know. Right.
Similar.
Thanks for the.
Yeah, that's it. Oh no, we should do a
that's
proper outro.
Alright.
No, I've said we should do
Okay.
outros properly.
Okay.
I've been what's your Twitter, boys? I don't know.
I'm JDizzle203, JDizzle_203 on Twitter. Chop follow. Cheers, mate.
Yep. Shrix.
Sriks SG,
Oh, Singapore.
standing for Singapore.
Yeah, how good.
Don't drop a follow. I don't really like Twitter, but
It's
there's
done.
some stuff there.
Anthony,
At Infinite1.
Jason,
I'm the Gwyff.
and I'm SSB Mast, and this has been the Dumb4Real podcast. Thank you for tuning in.
This is cringe. I hate this.
Fuck you. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.